Chapter 61. Waving his hand, Alex said, "Good morning. Anyway, you guys prepare to open up the restaurant and get ready for the coming customers." "Okay, boss." Alex nodded satisfiedly. At this time, one of the thugs suddenly asked, "Boss, do you know where Boss Don and Ben are? We can't open the restaurant if they aren't here after all." The others also nodded, seemingly curious about where the two guys were. In response to their question, Alex said, "You don't have to worry about them. They both went to the church early in the morning to activate their world system just as I promised them." Alex's words were like a stone thrown in the sea. It immediately caused a ripple to the surroundings as the thugs reacted. "Whoa, Boss Don and Ben are really going to activate their world system today? So, what Boss Alex said was real. Arg, I envy them so much. I hope I can activate my world system as well someday. Ha, me too. How great would it be if I can also become a player?" Soon, the whole restaurant became filled with longing voices from the thugs. Listening to their words, Alex thought of something and said, "If you guys also want to become players, then you should work hard. If you do well, it's not impossible for me to also help you become players like Don and Ben. That's why you should all work hard, understand?" After hearing Alex's words, those guys can't help but become more excited. They enthusiastically replied, "Yes, boss. Good, being motivated is good." Alex said. "Anyway, I will be gone for a while since I need to go to the capital. The restaurant will be left in the hands of you all. And so, today I'm going to make another promise." When they heard that, the thugs started to get excited. Noticing that, Alex smiled and did not keep them waiting. He continued, "If any of you performed well while I was gone, I will reward you by helping you become players just like Ben and Don." Immediately, the thugs erupted into cheers. "Whoa! Dang, we can also get a chance to become players. I will work hard, boss, so I hope you will choose me." "No, boss, I will work harder, so please turn me into a player." "Boss! Boss! Boss!" The loud cheers resounded throughout the whole neighborhood and people started looking at the closed Lucky restaurant. Alex raised his hand and calmly said, "Everyone, quiet down." In an instant, the noise disappeared as if it was never there to begin with. Alex smiled in satisfaction. "Good, you guys are great at listening to instructions," he said. Then he started walking towards the door while saying, "Anyway, I will be leaving now. The future of the restaurant is now all up to you boys." As his voice died down, Alex already went out of the store with Fairy. Then not long after Alex left, the loud resounding voice of everyone sounded once again throughout the neighborhood. "Take care, Boss Alex." Alex still managed to hear it and a slight smile went up on his face. After that, Alex hurried over to the west gate with Fairy beside him. By the way, Alex is wearing a hoodie today that has a big hood, enough to hide his features when he wore it. With that, even though people are looking in his direction because of Fairy or his outfit, Alex didn't care. Walking at a moderate speed, Alex arrived at the west gate. Here, the line is much longer than the one in the east gate where Alex usually leaves to go to Black Forest. Cupido Town, or more specifically, almost every city and town in this world has 4 gates. Mainly, South Gate, East Gate, North Gate, West Gate. Of course, for some bigger cities, 4 gates are not enough, so they have 8 gates. In Cupido Town, the east is usually used by the adventurers because that is where all kinds of places with monsters are located. Just like the Black Forest, Slime Plains, Troll Cave, etc. Meanwhile, the West Gate is where travelers go. That is because the roads leading to other cities and towns, including the capital, are in that direction. And today, this is also the road that Alex and Fairy are taking. It didn't take long before it's Alex's turn to be inspected. Coincidentally, the one inspecting the gate at this time is an acquaintance of Alex. It was Kevin. When Kevin saw Alex, he immediately went to greet him with a smile. "Good morning, Mr. Alex." "Good morning, Kevin." While inspecting Alex, Kevin can't help but start chatting. Alex nodded from time to time just to show that he's listening to Kevin's chatter. Not long after, the inspection finished and Kevin said, "All is good now, Mr. Alex, go now, go out of town." Alex nodded, "Thanks, Kevin." Just as Alex continued walking, Kevin's voice sounded from behind him. "Ah! Mr. Alex, I went to your restaurant yesterday and because of that I managed to taste this very delicious dish called adobo. I want to thank you for bringing such a great dish here in our remote town. I hope your business succeeds more and more. Alex looked back at Kevin with a smile. Thank you, Kevin, I will be heading out now. And so, Alex went out of Cupido town through the west gate without hassle. Alex was greeted by the warm and refreshing breeze after leaving the gate. Wow, now I'm officially stepping into this fantasy world more and more. For sure, I will encounter a lot of people, even danger is inevitable. But no matter what happens, I have to remain firm and steady for me to achieve my dream of standing at the top in the future. There was a determined look in Alex's eyes as he said those words with resolution. Scratching Fairy's fur beside him, Alex jumped up and rode on its back. With a calm voice, he said, Fairy, let us now embark on our new journey. And so, Alex temporarily left the Cupido town to go through the trial tower for class advancement. Chapter 62. Weak Hobgoblin. The journey to the Kiasis Kingdom's capital, Najals, is long. And along the way, Alex will pass through a number of villages and other cities. Some of the paths are dangerous with monsters and bandits alike lurking in the dark. But Alex didn't worry about any of that. That's because his current stats are already comparable or even surpassed other ordinary Tier 1 players. Note, Tier for players, Star for monsters. Plus, there's still a lot of undistributed stats on his status panel right now. He can just put all of them to any of his stats to defeat any enemy with higher stats. And, if ever he really encounters an enemy that he can't defeat, it's also not a problem, he can just go back to Earth with just a single thought and escape. That is Alex's confidence in traveling in this dangerous world on his own. 3 hours after leaving Cupido town, Alex saw a river and decided to take a rest there. Fairy, let's stop here first and take a rest. It's also lunchtime now anyway so we can eat there as well. Hearing Alex's words, Fairy slowed down his speed until it came to a stop on the riverbank. Alex jumped down from Fairy's back and walked to the edge of the river. He crouched down and scooped some water with his hands and drank it. Gulp. Puh. Hoo. That was fresh and cool water. The water was clear and fresh, that's why Alex was confident in drinking it. He turned around and called Fairy, Fairy, come here and drink some water as well. You've been running for 3 hours without stopping so it's good to drink water. Woof. Fairy obediently walked towards Alex and started drinking. While you're drinking, I'll go and prepare some food for the both of us. Saying that, Alex stood up and took a few things from his inventory such as portable stove, meat and a few seasonings. These are all things bought by Alex before coming to Alter Dimension today. Since he was planning to travel a long distance, he made sure that he stocked up on some necessary items in his inventory. This is because Alex doesn't plan to go back on Earth while he is traveling. This is so that he can experience what it's like to travel on this world. So it's purely just for fun. Anyway, Alex started preparing their food while enjoying the cool breeze from the riverbank. Soon, Alex finished cooking and handed a huge piece of meat to Fairy. Here, that's your portion. Fairy coquettishly rubbed his head on Alex before wolfing down the good given by Alex. Seeing that, Alex also started eating his lunch slowly. Soon, the two finished eating their food and started relaxing. Ha, that was such a good meal, right Fairy? Woof. Even Fairy showed his approval of Alex's cooking. Alex closes his eyes for a while. Crack. Suddenly, a sound of wood breaking sounded not far away. Alex immediately sat up and turned his head in that direction. There, Alex saw a monster with green skin and pointy ears. From the looks of it, it looks very similar to a goblin. However, this monster is 2 meters tall with a buff physique unlike those short and skinny goblins. Seeing that, Alex frowned. A hobgoblin. That's right, the monster in front of Alex is a hobgoblin, the advanced version of a goblin. This is what happens when a goblin turns into a 1-star monster. When Alex saw the hobgoblin, it also saw him and Fairy. It opened its mouth and roared at them. Roar. Alex stood up while Fairy also started glaring at the hobgoblin. Alex used Inspect on the hobgoblin and saw its stats. Name, Hobgoblin. Level, 37, 1 star. Strength 134, Constitution 138, Intelligence 62, Agility 106. After looking at its stats, Alex finally relaxed. I thought it was something, it seems like with my stats, 1-star monsters don't really pose any threat to me. Saying that, Alex calmly approached the hobgoblin with an indifferent face. When the hobgoblin saw that, it grew furious. He can see from Alex's body language that the human in front of him doesn't really take him seriously. So, full of anger, it roared loudly before rushing towards Alex. Its speed was a lot faster, and if a normal level 25 player is the one facing it, that player would have died before it even understood what happened to him. Unfortunately for this hobgoblin, he attacked the wrong person today. When the hobgoblin got near him, Alex slowly raised his hand and formed it into a fist. Without any fanciful movements, Alex punched the monster in front of him. The hobgoblin didn't take Alex's punch seriously because it looked weak and ordinary. But its expression immediately changed when Alex's fist finally connected with its body. With a shocked and pained look, the hobgoblin suddenly flew back like a kite with a broken string. Only then did it understand, that punch was indeed an ordinary one. However, the person who threw it actually contained a lot of power inside his body. Now, the hobgoblin can only die full of regrets in its heart. You killed a 1-star level 37 hobgoblin, plus 37,000 experience points. The system has detected that you have reached the maximum level for your current tier. Please immediately go through class advancement. Experience points will be temporarily stored in the system. Alex didn't pay much attention to the system notification. He already expected it, so he wasn't surprised. Since he can get it after he finishes the trial tower, Alex doesn't need to worry about his experience points being wasted. But still, Alex felt a little urgent in his heart. Shaking his head, Alex walked towards the hobgoblin's corpse and used sacrifice on it as usual. You sacrificed a 1-star monster, you gained 10 attribute points. After finishing that, Fairy was already beside him. Since he's no longer in the mood to relax, Alex decided to continue his journey. Let's go, Fairy. Chapter 63. Bandit Village. After that small encounter with the hobgoblin, Alex's journey has been smooth the whole time. Alex's first day of traveling went by without a problem. When the sun descended and the moon rose into the sky, Alex had already set up camp on a clear spot on the side of the road. Here he has a comfortable tent, a small soft mattress, pillows, a lamp, a small generator and a portable movie player. Standing outside while looking at all that, Alex smiled and said, "Now it's all set." Even though Alex wants to experience what traveling is like in this world, there's no reason why he should let himself suffer just because of that, right? Isn't this the reason why he wants to stand at the top? To live a comfortable life. So why let himself suffer when he has the means to enjoy better comfortable? Alex entered the tent and played a movie before coming out again to prepare food. As for Fairy, he's lying down beside the fire that Alex started with a fireball and a few sticks from the woods nearby. When he came to the fire, Alex glanced at Fairy and smiled. "Seems like you are very tired after a day of running, hey? Wait for a bit, I'll be preparing our food now." Alex placed a pot on the fire and started boiling some water. Since the night is cold, a soupy dish is perfect at this hour. So Alex is planning to cook the sour soup called sinigang. Cooking food for himself is something that Alex enjoys doing. That's why, while cooking, he can't help but start humming a song, showing just how much he enjoys cooking. Soon, the food was finished and Alex called Fairy. With a bowl of hot sinigang on his hands, Alex and Fairy watched the movie that Alex played. After they finished eating, they were already sleepy. Saying good night to Fairy, Alex went inside the tent and immediately drifted into dreamland. Fairy laid down beside the fire and closed his eyes. The night passed by unknowingly and soon the sun slowly climbed up to the sky. At the same time, Alex woke up and stepped out of the tent. The next moment, Alex was stunned. What the hell is this? It was because when he went outside, there's actually 2 unconscious men lying not far away from the fire last night that has now been extinguished. Near those men, Fairy was lying down, as if he's guarding some prisoners. After he recovered, Alex curiously approached those 2 unconscious men and observed them for a while. From the scratch marks on their bodies, Alex is sure that it was caused by Fairy. So it didn't take long for Alex to realize what happened. Those 2 probably went over here, trying to do something when they got noticed by Fairy and were knocked out. Thinking of that, Alex chuckled. Crouching down, Alex lightly slapped the cheeks of those men, waking them up. Pack pack pack. Hey, wake up. Ugh, what just? Finally, one of the 2 men opened his eyes. When he saw Alex, he was startled and immediately moved back. Who are you? The man asked with shaking eyes. Alex paused before a playful smile appeared on his face. Isn't it me who's supposed to be asking that question? The man was stunned, then slowly, the memories from last night started coming back to him. After a while, the man's eyes widened and he hurriedly looked in the direction where Fairy was lying down. When he did so, his eyes were met by a pair of sharp and scary eyes of Fairy, who has now also woke up. Immediately, fear set in into his eyes. Plop! Suddenly, the man knelt down and repeatedly apologized, I'm sorry, please forgive me. We were only ordered by the chief to go here, please forgive me. He bowed his head down again and again, it even hit the ground, causing blood to appear on his forehead. Seeing that, Alex frowned. Stop! He said. Immediately, the man stopped moving and kept his head bowed down. Then Alex said, you just said that you were ordered by this chief or something. Who the hell is this chief? Without hesitation, the man opened his mouth and started to speak. From what Alex learned from him, the person called chief in his mouth is actually a bandit leader. Just half a kilometer away from here, there is a village called Bokunat village, which is the village where the two men live. 2 days ago, bandits suddenly attacked their village. The bandit leader, Ogura, brought 100 bandits into the village. With that many bandits, even the guards and hunters of the village were overwhelmed and were killed. So without much effort, the bandits managed to capture Bokunat village by relying on numbers. The people of the village, including these two, were helpless in the face of the bandit group. So they can only surrender themselves to make sure that they wouldn't be killed. After that, the bandits started celebrating, consuming the resources of the village without restraint. The bandits also took the women of the village and did some indescribable things to them. As he was telling all this, the man spoke with gritted teeth. The anger was visible on his face, as if he wanted to slit the throat of Ogura and the other bandit's throat with his own arms. After the man finished narrating his story, Alex frowned and a thoughtful look covered his face. So you're telling me that Ogura, the leader of the bandits, has ordered some scouts around and we were noticed by them, correct? The man hurriedly nodded again and again, saying, yes. That's why Ogura ordered me and my brother to go to this place. Alex looked into his eyes and saw that he wasn't lying. After thinking about it, Alex said, alright, let's go and see what kind of strength this bandit has to dare and attack me. Chapter 64. One Hit Man? Alex decided to go and check out the Bokunat village and see the current situation there. Alex packed up the tent and other things while the man woke up his brother. Alex learned the names of those brothers. The one that woke up first and talked with Alex is called Kokoi, while his brother is Momoi. After hearing the situation from Kokoi, Momoi repeatedly bowed to Alex, thanking him for showing mercy to the two of them. Thank you very much. We were just forced by Ogura to attack you last night. To those words, Alex just took a glance before ignoring it. While he's cleaning up his things, Alex orders Fairy to keep watch of the two brothers. I'll leave the two of them to you for a bit, Fairy. Woof. Even though they are saying that they were just forced to do it, since they dared to attack him, Alex is of course not polite to them. However, the two still don't dare to get too close to Fairy, as if traumatized. From the frightened faces of the two of them, Alex can see how scared those two are at Fairy. Alex didn't care about their thoughts and just quickly finished packing up. Once he was done, Alex looked at the brothers and said, let's go, take me to your village. Okay. The two replied with a subservient attitude. Alex, Fairy, and the two brothers proceed towards the direction of the village. Bokunat village wasn't that far from where Alex camped, and so it didn't take long before the village appeared within their sight. Alex looked intently at the village from afar and asked, is that the Bokunat village? Kokoi nodded, yes, you can see from here that a lot of people carrying all kinds of weapons are walking inside, right? Those are the bandits. Just as Kokoi said, Alex indeed saw a lot of bandits roaming around the village. While Alex is still looking over the Bokunat village, their group didn't stop walking. That's why soon, the bandits noticed them approaching the village. Since bandits saw that there was a big wolf in Alex's group, they became wary. With a frown, one of the bandits yelled, who the heck are you? Go away if you don't want to die. Alex paid no heed to that and just continued walking with an indifferent look on his face. Fairy also didn't care about these weak bandits. However, the same can't be said to Momoi and Kokoi. They stuck close to each other, shivering and whispering. Brother, those bandits are scary, what are we gonna do? I also don't know, for now, let's just closely follow after that man. Saying that, Momoe kept his eyes on the back of that teenager. He is also doubtful of this kid's strength. Because, it was Fairy who took them down last night after hitting each of them once. As for Alex, he really doesn't know anything. Anyway, since the kid doesn't look that stupid, he probably has enough confidence for him to dare to come into this bandit-infested village. So just follow silently and observe what happens. The two hurried over behind Alex, trying to not move too far away from him. After being ignored, the bandit grew angry and took out his machete, waving it in front of him while looking at Alex viciously. Still not planning to go away? Then don't blame me. Suddenly, he pushed his feet off the ground and exploded with speed, rushing towards Alex. Since their distance are not far away, the bandit instantly appeared directly in front of Alex. On his face, there was a malicious smile, certain that the next moment, the man who ignored him would lay down on the ground full of blood the next second. However, his imagination can only remain as imagination. When the bandit appeared in front of Alex, he frowned and muttered, "These bandits are really so childish." The next seconds, he waved his hand and the bandit suddenly slammed on the ground in front of him. Quack! On the face of the bandit, an obvious mark of being hit was clearly seen. At this point, the neck of the bandit has been twisted 180 degrees and without a doubt, already broken. As if to tell Alex that the bandit is dead, a notification sounded in his head. "You killed a bandit, Paul, plus 50 experience points." Looking at the dead bandit on the ground, Alex whispered, "No one can handle a hit from me nowadays, hey." Well, it's not that I'm complaining since fighting is tiring. Ending them in one hit is still the true path. Behind him, Momoe and Kokoe heard Alex's whispering. When they heard his words, both of them froze at the same time. Then slowly turning their heads to each other, they saw the fear visible in one another's eyes. Without paying attention to them, Alex lifted his head and looked ahead of him. At some point, a lot of bandits have started gathering in front of them. Their eyes shifted between Alex and the bandit he killed for a few times before their faces changed. With a murderous look, they took out their weapons and pointed them at Alex. "Killing a member of the Ogura bandits is the greatest mistake you've made in your life. Say goodbye, you won't see the world again tomorrow." After saying some cringy lines, the group of bandits attacked Alex. Seeing that, Alex sighed helplessly. "Well, I guess I just got to do what I got to do." Saying that, Alex punched the first bandit that appeared close to him. Alex did not hold back his strength anymore. The next second, the head of the bandit he punched just exploded like a watermelon. Boom! Without stopping, Alex raised his feet and whipped the few that were close. A brutal sight appeared in everyone's sight. The body of those that he kicked got cut into two in their waist. Splash! Blood sprinkled all over the place, dyeing everyone with it, except for Alex. Behind Alex, Momoe and Kokoe muttered, "This guy is strong, strong and evil." Chapter 65. Ogura's Despair. At this time, inside the Bokunit village, in the village chief's house. Ogura, the leader of the bandits, is sitting in a chair with two girls in each of his arms, both looking terrified. "Gahahaha! Old man, you really have some good quality girls in your village, hey?" Opposite of Ogura, an old man with white beard and wrinkly face is kneeling down. "Ogura, please, spare our village. We are only a poor village, please stop this." On the haggard face of the old man, tears dripped down as he begged at the burly man with dark skin. Ogura laughed and said, "Old man, how can you say that you are just a poor village? Look here, isn't this some high-quality good?" Saying that, he touched the body of the girl on his right who looks to be in her teenage years. Being molested by this bandit, despair and fear are written all over the girl's face. Seeing all this, the old man begged more and more, "Please, stop. Please at least spare Nene, she's still young, please." Hearing that, Ogura smiled and said, "Isn't that more of a reason for me to take her? If I take this kind of young girl to a brothel, for sure she can make me a lot of money, The old man saw that he could do nothing and started crying sorrowfully. This old man is actually the village chief of Bokunit village, and the girl on Ogura's right called Nene is his one and only daughter. And at this time, that precious daughter of his is being molested by an evil bandit, but he can't even do anything with this old body of his. The old man blamed himself in heart again and again. At the same time, he was also wishing for a miracle. "Please, anyone, if there's anyone who can save us from this disaster, please save us." As if to answer his prayers, a loud commission came from the outside. Boom! PSSHT! Ah! Soon, multiple screams sounded once again outside, causing Ogura to frown. Is it those guys again? I already told them to stop damaging the goods, but they are still so energetic. Hey! Ogura thought that those screams came from the villagers being tortured by his men again. This wasn't the first time that this happened, so he wasn't surprised. Ogura decided to ignore it to let his men vent and have fun. He relaxed on his chair and continued drinking alcohol while putting his hands all over the body of the girls in his arms. However, after a few minutes, the screaming still didn't stop and Ogura started to become irritated by the noise. Frowning, Ogura see, those fools, don't they know how to keep it down? He let go of the girls and stood up from his seat. After being let go, Nene hurriedly ran to her father, who still kneeling on the ground, and hugged him with tears in her eyes. Ogura didn't care, they had no way to escape here after all. Anyway, in an irritated mood, Ogura kicked the door open and shouted loudly, "Why the hell are you all kook?" Ogura's words got stuck in his throat after seeing the situation outside. At the entrance of the village, there stood a young man with cold eyes. Bandits charged towards him, trying to cause at least even a bit of damage. But it was all useless. No matter how much they tried, no matter how many of them go forward, it only results in one end for them. Death. Each time the young man waves his hand, one or sometimes even a group of people's bodies explode into blood and pieces of meat. It was pure slaughter. When Ogura saw such a scene, he couldn't help but feel a cold on his back for a moment. But after a while, Ogura recovered and thought, no, how could I be scared of that? I successfully advanced to Tier 1 last week. A cold light flashed through Ogura's eyes. He regained his confidence and walked with great strides to the entrance of the village where the slaughter is taking place. When the bandits saw their leader finally come, their eyes lit up. The chief has come. Hoo! That kid is dead now, the chief will beat him to a mush. Haha, that's right, the chief has successfully advanced Tier 1 last week, that kid will die without a body now. The bandits cheered and looked at Alex as if he's already dead. For a moment, the flood of rushing bandits stopped and they waited for Ogura to make a move. They have already seen it. That kid is not normal, as normal bandits, they stand no chance against him. So the only one who can do something about this situation is their leader, Ogura. Ogura looked at Alex and the pool of blood around him as well as the corpse of his men. With a hint of anger in his tone, Ogura said, "Boy, you killed a lot of my men, hey. How are you planning to compensate me for it?" Scratching his head, Alex sighed with an expression as if he's tired of everyone's stupidity. Looking back at Ogura, Alex said, "Why should I compensate you? Are you stupid?" Ogura's originally ugly face just turned uglier after hearing Alex's words. Anger was visible on his face as he said, "Boy, you really have a lot of courage to dare insult me. You're really courting death." After saying the cliché line of the villains, Ogura took out a battle axe and swung it a couple of times. Shung! Shung! Then without hesitation, he charged towards Alex. Die! With a big swing, Ogura's battle axe came to Alex. Alex looked at it with a curious expression. Alex already used Inspect on Ogura and saw that he's just a Tier 1 player. Right now, Ogura's current level is only 26, just one level higher than Alex. However, Alex's stats overwhelmed Ogura's stats by a big margin. That's why Alex didn't feel threatened. What Alex feels now is curiosity. And that curiosity is directly targeted at Ogura's weapon. Narrowing his eyes, Alex muttered, "What is this feeling? Something doesn't feel right with that battle axe." Chapter 66. Massacre, Savior. Seeing the blade of the bat axe approach him, Alex casually raised his hand, catching the Ogura's attack relaxedly. Ogura's eyes widened. What? He was surprised that Alex caught his attack without even moving a step back. Alex glanced at him and said, "What? This is all you amount to and you dare act arrogantly?" Before Ogura can even say anything, Alex let go of the battle axe and lightly swept Ogura's feet on the ground. Ack! Ogura lost his balance and fell down to the ground. Alex looked down on Ogura without saying anything. Feeling Alex's gaze, Ogura felt humiliated. Especially here, all his subordinates are watching him with expectations. He gritted his teeth and jumped up while also moving away from Alex. Alex didn't bother pursuing and just stood, watching him do all these things. Ogura turned his eyes back to Alex and saw the latter also looking at him. However, for some reason, Ogura felt like Alex was looking at him with eyes that you would normally look at a clown. Meaning, he felt like Alex was treating him as a clown. At this point, Ogura is already feeling ashamed. At the same time, his anger reached a new height. Suddenly, the veins from Ogura's body bulged and became visible to everyone. His skin turned red and his eyes seemed to have turned crazy, only filled with madness. Boy, now you really angered me. Prepare to die. For the second time, Ogura once again started attacking Alex. However, from start to finish, Alex still has that nonchalant attitude. Still, feeling the power behind Ogura's every attack, Alex can't help but comment. Your attacks have become fiercer and much more powerful than before, hey. I guess, this is the effect of your Berserker class, hey. That's right, Ogura's class is Berserker, a rare class. Its most noticeable trait is that, when they get angry, their power becomes stronger in exchange, it lowers their thinking ability a little. Anyway, as a rare class, every time Ogura levels up, he gets 10 attribute points. Although it's only half of what Alex normally gets, for ordinary people, 10 attribute points is already a lot. This is also the reason why Ogura dares to act arrogantly. Because only about 1 out of 100,000 people can get a rare class. And he's one of them. Unfortunately, he met someone like Alex. Not only does he have the Dungeon Master class that is multiple times more powerful than a rare class, but also has a perverted skill like Sacrifice. So now, he can only be beaten by Alex without a chance of fighting back. Shaking his head, Alex said, "You guys already wasted too much of my time. It's about time to end this now." Alex's eyes changed, a sharp and cold light flashed in his eyes. The next second, Alex clenched his fist and hit Ogura in the stomach. Boom! Kahawk! Ogura's body bursts into pieces. Just before he dies, Ogura can't help but feel despair and regret. Why did he even try to fight back a monster like that? In the end, he was just an overconfident fool. You killed the level 26 Berserker Ogura, plus 42,000 experience points. Experience points have been temporarily deposited into the system. Alex didn't even blink an eye after killing Ogura. At this time, he already killed tens of bandits and it can be said that his hand is already filled with their blood. Anyway, after killing Ogura, Alex turned his eyes to those bandits. Without hesitation, Alex once again started a massacre. To speed up the cleaning, Alex even called Fairy to join in. In less than 5 minutes, Alex and Fairy successfully got rid of all the remaining bandits. Looking at the blood all over the ground, Alex felt a little emotional. Turning his gaze at his own hands, he muttered, "The life of the weak is really fragile. That's why, I have to become strong. Stronger than anyone and stand at the top." Alex felt his heart become firmer after this. Meanwhile, people from the Buccanet village started coming out one by one. Seeing the bloody scene in front of their village, their faces turned pale. But thinking that those people laying there in a pool of blood are those people who did a lot of unreasonable things to them these past few days, they felt relieved. At this time, the village chief along with his daughter, Nene, has also appeared. With shaky steps, he approached Alex before suddenly dropping down on his knees. Plop! God didn't abandon us. In the face of evil, God sent us a mighty savior. Thank you, savior. Thank you. Hearing the words of the unknown old man in front of him, Alex was startled. Hey? Savior. Alex felt a little funny. The only reason why he went to this village is because of the two brothers, Momoe and Kokoi, telling him that Ogura sent them. Taking a glance at the two, Alex saw that they were still frozen in place, looking at the countless corpses on the ground. The shock was probably too much for them, seeing one teenager killing hundreds of bandits on his own. Anyway, Alex didn't pay much attention to them. Just as he was about to say some things to the kneeling old man, Alex saw that the villagers had already come closer and started kneeling one after another. Plop! Plop! Thank you, savior, for saving us from those evil bandits. Yes, Sob, savior, Sob, thank you. Hoo-hoo, we're finally safe, we don't have to suffer anymore, hoo. One by one, those simple villagers started pouring out their heartfelt emotions. Alex fell silent after seeing this. Maybe for me, coming here was nothing important. But for them, it was like the only light in their world that's been swallowed by darkness. Alex thought in his heart. Sighing, Alex turned his eyes back at the old man and said, "Please get up, let's talk about things inside the village. Hearing that, the old man lifted his face that was now covered in tears and nodded, Sob, yes, please come into our humble village, Savior Sob. Chapter 67. Reward, Hidden Dungeon Token. Bokunat Village. Village Chief's House. The village chief respectfully let Alex inside his house and sit down on the chair. Please sit down first, Savior. I will serve you something to drink before we talk. Saying that, the village chief turned his eyes at his only daughter and said, Nay, go to Nunoi's house and ask for some fruit wine for our Savior. The young girl who's been staring at Alex all this time finally reacted after hearing her father's words. Ah. Oh okay, father. After saying that, Nene hurriedly went out of the house to do his father's errand. Seeing his daughter leave, the village chief sighed. Then he turned back to Alex and bowed down. Once again, thank you very much for saving our village from the hands of those bandits. His words are full of emotions, his heart is only filled with gratitude for this unknown savior of them. Hearing that, Alex shook his head. It's no big deal. It was only a coincidence that I saved your village. The only reason why I came here was because that bandit messed with me. Saying that, Alex told the story about Momoi and Kokoi to the village chief. When the village chief heard the story, he sighed, Momoi and Kokoi, those two are the troublemakers of this village in the past. Always causing problems wherever they go. Because of that, a lot of people don't look at them kindly. Unexpectedly, it was them who became the reason that our village was saved even though it wasn't through a good way. Thinking of it, the village chief felt just how unexpected fate can do things. Then, he looked again at Alex and said, First, I would like to apologize on behalf of those two. Just like they said, they were indeed coerced by Ogura to do things for him. He bowed for a while before lifting up his head and continuing. Next, even though it was just a coincidence, you have indeed saved us from the bandits, so without a doubt, you're our savior, a hero. While saying that, the eyes of the old village chief can't help but shine brightly. Seeing the almost fanatical eyes of the old man, Alex didn't know what more to say. Then suddenly, the village chief seriously said, As the savior of our village, it's just right for us to reward you. That's why, please wait here for a second, I will grab something from the bedroom first. Without waiting for Alex to react, the village chief always went inside the bedroom. Watching the old man, Alex shook his head and let out a helpless sigh. After waiting for a few minutes, the old village chief came back, holding an old wooden box in his hands. Sorry, it took me a while to find it. Thankfully, I still have it. Sitting down on a chair opposite to Alex, the old man handed him the box. With a smile, he said, Take it. Although it's not much, this is the most precious thing that I could give you as a reward. Seeing the sincerity of the village chief, Alex, who was originally planning to refuse any reward, hesitated. If he keeps on refusing, the village chief might feel insecure about the fact that they can't give a satisfactory reward to him. So after thinking about it, Alex sighed and accepted the box. Looking at the box in his hands, he asked, What is in this? Can I open it? Yes, of course. Please open it. Replied the village chief. Nodding his head, Alex opened the box without putting much expectations on this so-called reward. After taking off the lid, what appeared on Alex's sight was a black unknown coin. Tilting his head, Alex picked it up and looked at the village chief, asking, What is this, village chief? Hearing him ask, the village chief smiled mysteriously. When I first saw you, I guessed that you might be an adventurer, is that right? The village chief suddenly asked. Without thinking much, Alex nodded, Yes, I am indeed an adventurer. Although, I'm honestly just a newbie adventurer. After Alex said the first half of his words, the village chief nodded his head as if he already expected it. But when he heard the latter half of his words, the village chief froze. Then slowly turning to Alex, in disbelief, he asked, Are you serious? Yeah, is it surprising? The village chief honestly replied, Yes, very much so. With the prowess that you've shown us, I thought that you're already a veteran adventurer. Alex smiled after hearing that. Then he said, Why did you even ask if I know about dungeons, village chief? With Alex asking, the village chief can only forget about Alex's seniority as an adventurer and went back to their original topic. Fixing his eyes on the coin in Alex's hand, the village chief said, That is because, the thing in your hand is actually, a token necessary to enter a hidden dungeon. Immediately, Alex was stunned. As a dungeon master, Alex knows about dungeons more than any normal people. Hidden dungeons, unlike normal dungeons that were created and owned by dungeon masters, formed naturally on their own. There are various reasons why a hidden dungeon could be formed. It could be because of a powerful relic. Or maybe because the mana in one place have become too dense and the world decided to make a hidden dungeon. Anyway, it was widely known that hidden dungeons are places filled with all kinds of treasures. The monsters there also give more experience points than monsters from the outside or ordinary dungeons. What's more special about hidden dungeons are the rewards if you manage to clear it. Anyway, at this point, Alex has been greatly surprised after hearing what the village chief said. As if to confirm his words, Alex used inspect on the black token on his hand. Fortune Dungeon Token. Rating, Legendary. Details, a token used to enter the hidden dungeon Fortune Dungeon. Chapter 68. Chance for Growth. Fortune Dungeon Token. Rating, Legendary. Details, a token used to enter the hidden dungeon Fortune Dungeon. The details from inspect were simple and concise. Fortune Dungeon. Alex muttered the name of the hidden dungeon with a thoughtful look on his face. Looking at his talent on his character panel, Alex suddenly felt excited. His talent, Fortune's Embodiment, is an S-rank growth talent. However, since the time he started diving in Alter Dimension up to now, Alex still doesn't have a clue as to how he can increase the rank of his talent. Although he wasn't rushing, from time to time, the thought about it comes to his head. Now, out of nowhere, a dungeon related to luck or fortune suddenly appeared. Alex can feel it, this opportunity was actually because of his own talent. Even if he doesn't activate the fortune state, his talent can still passively affect his life. When Alex thinks back to it, since the time he got the talent Fortune's Embodiment, he hasn't encountered any more situations that put him in a disadvantage. In the past, although he wasn't unlucky, he was also not lucky. He encountered some unlucky things every day back then. Thankfully, all of those were nothing serious. Anyway, Alex looked at the black token on his hand with burning eyes. Now, he's really looking forward to entering this fortune hidden dungeon. On the side, seeing Alex's eyes that are looking intently at the token, the village chief said, "Savior, what do you think of this item as a reward?" With shining eyes, Alex replied, "It is a very good reward. I will gladly accept this, thank you very much, village chief." Hearing that, obvious relief appeared on the village chief's face. After that, the two said a few more things between each other before Alex stood up and said, "Village chief, thank you for the hospitality that you showed me as an uninvited guest to your village. However, it is about time for me to leave now." Hearing that, the village chief also stood up. "Is that so? It seems like you are a very busy man, our dear savior. Originally, I was planning to treat you with some food, along with all the villagers as a way of expressing our gratitude. But it looks like that won't be possible," he said with a regretful face. To that, Alex smiled and said, "Don't worry, village chief, if I get the chance next time, I will surely make sure to come and visit Bokunat village again." After hearing that, the regret on the face of the village chief eased a little. "Since you promise, then I will wait for you here along with everyone." Alex and the village chief walked to the door while still chatting. Then suddenly, the village chief exclaimed, "Ah! By the way, where did that girl Nene go? It's been a long time since I asked her to get a bottle of fruit wine but she hasn't come back even after we finished talking." With an apologetic face, he said to Alex, "I'm sorry about that, savior. I wasn't even able to treat you to a drink when you're here." Alex waved his hand and said, "Ha, don't mind it. I'm not thirsty anyway." The village chief smiled at him. After that, the two exited the house with smiles on their faces. But when they got outside, Alex was surprised to see a lot of people gathering there, all looking at him. Before he even reacted, those villagers bowed down and in unison, they said, "Thank you so much for saving us, savior." Alex froze for a moment before his face immediately returned to calm. Nodding his head, he smiled and talked with the villagers for a while. Finally, after a few minutes, Alex walked out of the village under the eyes of every villager. Alex can only sigh about that and wave his hand one last time before he finally left. Also, while walking outside the village, Alex didn't forget to use sacrifice on the dead bandits. You used sacrifice, you gained 5 attribute points. You used sacrifice, you gained 5 attribute points. You used sacrifice, you gained 5 attribute points. You used sacrifice. In the end, Alex got a total of 516 free attribute points. Including the free attribute points that he hasn't used yet, Alex has successfully gathered enough to hatch the dragon egg. Alex was ecstatic at this. He can't wait and wants to immediately hatch the dragon egg. But after thinking about it, Alex still decided against it. Right now, I'm still traveling and there's a lot of uncertainty. Then, eyeing the dragon egg on his inventory, Alex said, also, I'm not really sure what will happen after I hatch this thing. This dragon egg is not a simple thing. Alex didn't forget that it's actually something like a reincarnation of the old dragon. That's why, there might be some complications after he hatched the dragon egg. Sighing, Alex shook his head and got rid of the thoughts about the dragon egg on his mind. Next, he turned his gaze to the ground and saw that now, there's only one remaining corpse laying there. And that is, Ogura's body. As for why Alex haven't used sacrifice on Ogura's body yet. That is because of what the village told him before he left. Savior, do not forget to take Ogura's head with you. Since you're the one who killed him, you can get the bounty on his head as long as you take it to any branch of Adventurers Guild. Currently, Alex doesn't have a lot of money here in the Alter Dimension. Back then, his only gold coin was used to buy the old building which is now the Lucky Restaurant. Now, even though the Lucky Restaurant is also earning well, Alex is far away from the restaurant at the moment. That's why, in case there's anything he needs to pay for, Alex decided to just turn Ogura's head into the Adventurers Guild instead of using sacrifice on it. Chapter 69 River City. Alex cuts Ogura's head from his body while praising himself at the same time. You really did well for not hitting this bloke in the face, self. Thanks to that, his head can still be used to earn some pocket money. Alex really felt glad that he only punched Ogura on his body. If it was the face that he attacked, well, there will probably be no longer any head on that burly body by that time. After finishing that, Alex stored the head in his inventory and finally continued his travels with Fairy. While riding on Fairy's back, Alex is looking at the map that he bought from the Adventurers Guild the other day. Since we already passed the Bokunat village, the next place on the map is River City. River City is quite a distance away from here. At our current speed, we should be able to arrive there by noon tomorrow. Alex threw back the map inside his inventory and relaxed himself. Alex's travel is actually quite carefree and that is all thanks to Fairy. Rubbing Fairy's fur, Alex said, bringing you with me was really a great idea. From now on, I'll try to take you with me every time I travel. To Alex's words, Fairy didn't react. Alex didn't care and just closed his eyes, waiting for time to pass by. Bokunat Village. In one of the many dilapidated houses in this village, there lives two brothers with parents or relatives. Those two are Momoi and Kokoi. Between the two brothers, Momoi is the older one and also the smartest. Meanwhile, Kokoi is a little simple-minded but has a powerful body. Like everyone else in the village, the two also haven't activated their world system. At this time, those two are inside their house with a dazed look on their faces. After a long silence, Kokoi couldn't take it anymore and said, "Brother, that guy from earlier, he is really powerful, isn't he?" Momoi didn't seem to hear the words that Kokoi just said and continued sitting there in a daze. A few seconds later, Momoi finally reacted to them. Opening his mouth, he said, "Yes, that guy is a really powerful man. I guess we were pretty lucky that he didn't kill us as soon as he saw us, don't you think?" Kokoi nodded, agreeing to Momoi's words. Remembering the time when Alex met him back at Alex's camping site, Kokoi shivered. Fortunately, when he first saw me, he didn't immediately attack me and listen to what I have to say or else, we're probably both dead by now. Momoi nodded. Sighing, he said, "It would be great if we can follow someone like him." Momoi's wishful words echoed inside their small house followed by a deep sigh. Alex traveled for the whole day without any more surprise. When the night arrived, Alex and Fairy finally stopped for the day and prepared their camp. Just like yesterday, after finding a good location, Alex started a fire, placed his tent as well as his other things. Alex and Fairy ate dinner quietly while watching some movies. After that, it's now time for them to go to sleep. Looking at Fairy, Alex said, "I'll depend on you to watch over our surroundings for the night again, Fairy." Woof. Alex entered the tent and Fairy also laid down beside the fire. Soon enough, Alex comfortably drifted off to sleep. The next day, when the sun had just risen, Alex is already up and preparing to set out. By noon, we should arrive at River City today. I can also hand in Ogura's head in the Adventurers Guild there. Well then, let's head out. After that he ate breakfast, Alex packed his things and immediately set out on the road with Fairy. This time, the journey was smooth and there were no unexpected situations. After traveling for a couple of hours, Alex soon caught sight of a city in the distance. Squinting his eyes, Alex smiled, that should be River City. I didn't expect it to be that big. Patting Fairy, Alex said, let's hurry up so that you can rest in the city. Hearing that, Fairy suddenly sped up greatly. Alex can hear the harsh wind brushing past his ears because of how fast they are going. But that wasn't probably to someone like Alex with monstrously high stats. As for Fairy, well, he wasn't even affected by it because he himself is the wind. Not long after, the two arrived outside River City. When they got there, Alex immediately noticed the huge city wall that looked to be tens of meters in height. Looking at it, Alex exclaimed, "Whoa, that city wall is huge. Compared to the one at Cupido Town, this one is many times bigger." Because of how big it is, Alex can't help but wonder how this city wall was made. It should be with the help of magic, right? Magic is not only something that can be used to harm others. It's also something that can greatly help people in multiple things even in their day-to-day life. That's why, a lot of people are envious of those with class on the magic path. They can enjoy the convenience of magic with just a wave of their hands. And this became the reason for the creation called magic items. Magic items are items that can be used even by the common people to use magic. For example, the image crystal that Alex first saw when he bought a property in Golden House. By using a little bit of mana, Kara was able to use it to show Alex the images that's been saved in it. Thanks to that, she doesn't have to go out and personally go to the property just to let the buyer see it. Because of this, magic items are really popular because of the convenience they bring to people's lives. Alex fell in line at the entrance to River City. The inspection process is pretty fast and it didn't take long before it's Alex's turn. Please show any proof of identity. If you don't have one, you can go to the side and pay for an entrance fee. Chapter 70. A rank party, Crimson Lion. Alex showed his adventurer card and was immediately let in inside River City. By the way, Alex noticed that the guard or any other people here didn't look surprised after seeing Fairy beside him. But when he entered the city, Alex immediately understood why that's the case. Inside the city, monsters of all kinds roam about here and there. Some of them are monsters that do work like that dinosaur-like monster pulling a carriage not far away. While others are just there to hang out, doing whatever their master orders. In other words, a pet. However, there's something that's similar that all of the monsters here have. And that is a collar on their neck. Seeing that everyone has it, Alex turned his eyes at Fairy's neck, asking, "Do you also want one, Fairy?" When he heard that, Fairy was startled and hurriedly shook his head. Whimper. Showing puppy eyes, Fairy tried to act pitiful as if begging Alex not to put a collar on his neck. Alex chuckled, "You're really too intelligent, buddy." Alex didn't bring up the topic about the collar again. Since he's new here, Alex asked a random passerby about the location of the Adventurers Guild and headed there. When he arrived at the branch of Adventurers Guild in River City, Alex saw that just like the city wall, it was also much bigger compared to the one from Cupido Town. Also, just with a glance, Alex can already see that the building of the Adventurers Guild was made with high-quality materials. I guess that's just reasonable since it's a bigger place compared to Cupido Town. Alex shrugged it off and entered the guild. There was a stable outside where pets and mounts are left. Alex let Fairy stay there and wait for him. Inside the guild, Alex immediately noticed the atmosphere here was unlike the guild branch in Cupido Town that feels a bit rough and rowdy. Here, everything seems organized. Even those adventurers that are drinking on their table are keeping it quiet. Wow, this place looks so neat and tidy. It's really worthy of being a branch in a bigger city. Alex commented. Coincidentally, he was heard by a veteran adventurer on the side. That adventurer looked at him and chuckled. Ha ha ha, it seems like you're a newbie adventurer. Alex curiously turned his head to the veteran adventurer and said, "That's right. But how did you immediately notice?" The man smiled and said, "It's because of the words you just said." Hey? Is there something wrong with it? Shaking his head, the man denied, "No, there's nothing wrong with your words. It's just that, this should be your first time here and you thought that all guild branches in other big cities are also as organized as this place, right?" Ahoy! Alex nodded, confirming the adventurer's words. A knowing smile crept up the man's face as he said, "Well, that's a big mistake." Saying that, the man started explaining to Alex how he was mistaken. "So, the thing is, just because it's a big city doesn't mean it will be as organized as this branch. The true reason why this branch is so organized is because of the guild master here." The veteran adventurer mentioned that the River City's guild master is a woman who's obsessed with cleanliness and orderliness. That's why this guild that can be said to be a gathering place for all sorts of people is so proper. After hearing that, Alex immediately realized his misconception. "Oh, so that's the case." Saying that, Alex thanked the veteran adventurer. "Thank you for telling me that." "Ha, don't mind it, it's just a small thing." Suddenly, he patted Alex on the shoulder, saying, "My name is Brian, leader of the A-rank party, Crimson Lion." Alex was surprised by the identity of the man in front of him. Leader of an A-rank party, that can be called a big shot in almost every city they go to. Alex didn't expect that a random man who suddenly talked to him is actually such a big shot. However, even in front of a big shot like that, Alex didn't feel intimidated or anything. He put on a calm smile and also introduced himself. "I'm Zero, a newbie D-rank adventurer." The two shook their hands after the introduction. After that, Brian said, "I have to go now, I still have to report to the guild about the quest that my party took. Anyway, if you meet me next time, don't hesitate to call me." After saying goodbye, Brian headed towards one of the many reception desks in the guild. Seeing that, Alex also headed towards another receptionist. "Hello, sir, how may I help you today?" The receptionist greeted Alex with a professional smile. Without saying anything, Alex suddenly took out Ogura's head, still bleeding, and placed it on the reception desk. "Kaya!" Because Alex brought out a bloody head, the female receptionist was startled. She backed away while screaming her lungs out. Instantly, they became the center of attention in the guild. Even Brian on the other desk turned his head in their direction. Seeing the reaction of the receptionist, Alex frowned and felt slightly unhappy. Other receptionists looked at their colleague who suddenly screamed, asking, "Loria, what's the matter with you?" Loria didn't respond but pointed at the desk she was assigned. When the other receptionist looked at what she was pointing at, they were also startled but their faces immediately returned to calm unlike Loria. At this time, an older receptionist came out from a door behind the receptionist. She frowned and said, "What is the commotion all about, hey?" From the tone of her voice, everyone can guess that she is feeling unhappy, maybe even a little irritated. Right from the moment that older receptionist appeared, the faces of every other receptionist visibly became tense. So it's not hard to guess that that woman is probably a higher-ranking guild staff. Since no one responded to her question, the older receptionist turned her eyes to Loria, who have calmed down a bit now, and asked, Are you the one causing a commotion in the guild?" Chapter 71. Bounty Reward. Are you the one causing a commotion?" Facing the question of her superior, Loria's face can't help but turn pale. But... In an attempt to explain, she opened her mouth to speak, only to stutter before falling silent. Seeing that, the older receptionist sighed while shaking her head. In a much softer voice, she said, "Ha, you're really a hopeless case, Loria. I already tried my best to help you, but you're afraid of every little thing." After saying that, she clapped her hands and said, "Everyone, get back to work. Can't you see that there's still a lot of adventurers waiting?" Hearing that, all the receptionists resumed their work and helped the adventurers with what they needed. Except Loria, of course. Turning her eyes to Loria, she said, "Loria, go to my office for now, I will talk to you later after I finish handling this gentleman on your desk." After saying that, she stopped paying attention to Loria and went to Alex. With a polite smile, she said, "Hello, I apologize for my subordinate. My name is Linda, the staff manager here. I will be the one who will help you process your things now." Alex nodded without any expression on his face. Linda looked at the bloody thing that Alex put on the table. After inspecting it a bit, her eyes widened in astonishment and said, "This is Mad Bandit Ogura's head." Mad Bandit, that is the name that Ogura earned in his days as a bandit. It was a name that came to be because of his class, Berserker, that makes him stronger the angrier he is. However, Alex didn't know about any of this nor did he care about it. He just looked at the receptionist Linda and said, "Yeah, that's indeed Ogura. I killed him on my way here because he sent people to my camping place. From Alex's calm tone, you won't guess that he's actually talking about killing someone. You'll probably just think he's talking about walking in the park or relaxing somewhere. Anyway, with Alex's confirmation, Linda stared at him with a dumbfounded look. However, as expected of a senior employee, Linda managed to return to calm immediately and proceeded with processing the bounty for Ogura. I will now proceed with confirming your kill, please hand over your guild card. Alex gave his card without hesitation and silently waited for Linda to finish. After waiting for less than a minute, Linda handed back his card and said, I have confirmed that you killed Mad Bandit Ogura. Please wait a moment as I prepare your reward. While Linda is processing the reward, Alex noticed that a few adventurers that are not far away from him looked at him with a surprised expression. It seems like they either heard Linda's words or saw Ogura's face. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. Alex thought. He stopped paying attention to other people and just honestly waited for his reward to be processed. Soon, without Alex noticing, they became filled with discussions about him killing Ogura. Hey, did you hear that? What? That guy Miss Linda is handling, he killed the Mad Bandit. What? Man, you gotta be kidding. No, Miss Linda already confirmed it. Damn, for real? That guy is so strong. Yeah, can you imagine it? That guy looks so young but already has such strength. Looks like at least another A-rank adventurer is about to appear, hey. From discussing Ogura's death to guessing about his strength, soon Alex became the topic of everyone in the guild. As they are still busy discussing, Linda finishes handling the process and hands Alex a money pouch and his guild card. Thank you for waiting, here is your reward. Alex received it and took a look at how much is inside. Immediately, his eyes widened in surprise. Inside the pouch, there's actually 5 gold coins. Alex didn't expect Ogura's bounty to be this high. Before he could even react, Linda's voice sounded again. Mr. Zero, because of the exemplary deed of subjugation of the Mad Bandit as well as proving your strength, the guild has decided to promote your rank to C rank. Congratulations on becoming a C rank adventurer. Once again, Alex was surprised by Linda's words. Alex took out his guild card to look at it. Adventurer Guild's card. Name, 0. Level, 25. Class, Mage. Rank, C. Alex is really surprised now. He never expected that killing a weak bandit like Ogura would let him rank up just like that. Once again, a slight smile appeared on his face. Lifting his head, he looked at Linda and said, thanks. After that, since Alex had no more business in the guild, he decided to leave. Under the eyes of every adventurer, Alex left the guild. He picked up Fairy from the stable and the two started roaming around River City. Since I have some money, let's go and look around for something to eat. Hearing that they are going to look for food, Fairy's eyes visibly lit up. Woof! Fairy moved around excitedly, looking around the place for food. Suddenly, an irresistibly savory smell wafted through Fairy's nose that startled him. Closing his eyes, Fairy looked for the smell in the air. Sniff sniff. Soon, Fairy opened his eyes and looked at Alex excitedly. Woof woof. Seeing Fairy's sudden change in behavior, Alex raised an eyebrow and said, What? Did you find something good? Woof. Fairy nodded repeatedly. Then let's go and take a look at what it is. Alex said after a little thought. Okay, lead the way, Fairy. Soon, the scene of an excited dog, no, a wolf walking around town with a young man was seen by the River City residents. After walking less than 5 minutes, Fairy stopped in front of an old-looking building. At the entrance, there's a plaque that says Dragon Dining that seems to exude a domineering aura. With just a glance at it, Alex can see that this building has been standing for a long time here. However, even though it's old, it didn't feel lifeless but ancient. Alex turned his head at the excited wolf beside him and asked, Fairy, are you sure this is the place? Without hesitation, Fairy nodded. Well, let's go in and see what they have here. Chapter 72. Dragon meat or not? Alex entered the restaurant called Dragon Diner on his own. Meanwhile, Fairy was once again left on the stable behind the restaurant since pets and monsters are not allowed inside the establishment. Anyway, when passed through the door, he was welcomed by a place brimming with people. Even though this place looks desolate outside, there's actually quite a lot of people inside. Alex was amazed by it for a second that he took his time observing everything. As he was looking at the place, a little girl who seems to be around 10 to 12 years old approached him with a smile and cheerfully said, "Welcome to Dragon Diner." Hearing the chirpy voice, Alex can't help but turn his eyes at the little girl. As he did so, he was immediately surprised when he saw the appearance of the girl. That is because, on top of her head, there's actually a furry that seems to be from a cat. On her backside, Alex also noticed a tail that's been waving left and right as if showing the girl's happy mood. This girl is a beastman. Alex already knows that this world has a wide variety of races living in it. From humans, elves, dwarfs, and mermaids. There's even demons and angels in this world. Despite knowing that, Alex was still surprised after finally seeing a person from another race so closely. Meanwhile, as Alex was staring at her, the beastman girl tilted her head and asked, "Customer, is there something wrong?" When she said that, there's this visible worry that appeared on her face. At the same time, her wagging tail suddenly stops before it suddenly falls down. Alex finally snapped out of his daze after hearing the girl's voice again. "Ah. No, I was just surprised to see a beastman here," Alex said, trying to say it with the gentlest tone he can do. After seeing the worried look in her face eased, Alex breathed a sigh of relief. Beastmen have a history of being treated unfairly and inhumanely by humans in the past. Even though it's gone now, there's still scars and trauma in their hearts. After hearing Alex's words, the girl seemed to have regained her energy since her tail started waving around again. Anyway, after resolving the small misunderstanding, the girl led Alex towards an empty table. After letting him sit down, the girl said, "Wait a moment, I'll go grab the menu first so that you can order." Alex smiled and nodded, "Okay." Left alone, Alex got nothing to do so he started looking around the restaurant again. Not long after, Alex stopped and turned his eyes at the beastman girl running towards him. "Sorry for the wait. I have brought the menu with me, please take your time looking for what you want to eat." Saying that, she handed Alex the menu and stood on the side silently. Alex picked up the menu and glanced at the girl, saying, "Thanks." Immediately, a blooming smile crept up the little girl's lips. The feeling of being acknowledged, she liked it very much. Anyway, Alex looked through the menu and stopped paying attention to her. When Alex saw the whole menu, he was surprised to see that there's only a few dishes on the list. Those are dragon steak, dragon rice, dragon blood, roasted dragon, etc. Seeing it, Alex said, "This place seems to like dragons very much, hey." Alex chuckled after saying that. On the side, the little beastman girl heard his words and suddenly said, "No, sir, it's actually the opposite." Alex paused before turning his head towards her and with a curious expression, he asked, What do you mean?" With Alex talking to her, the girl immediately became active. "Think about it, sir, if the owner and chef like dragons, why would they kill them every day? I mean, if that were me, I wouldn't kill something that I like. So that means they hate them, right?" Alex paused for a second and didn't know how to refute her words. After all, it actually makes sense. Shaking his head, Alex focused on something else that the girl mentioned. "Hey, you said that the owner and the chef always kill dragons, is that true?" Without hesitation, she nodded her head, "Yes, every weekend, they bring back a bunch of dragons and cook it for the customers." Alex's eyes narrowed after hearing that. He looked back at the menu and muttered, "So this means, all of these are actually foods made using dragon's meat?" Alex's eyes shone brightly. This is probably the reason why Fairy was so excited while going here. As a creature that stands at the top, dragons are all very powerful. However, that doesn't mean that there are no longer any people who can go against them. Within the human race, as well as the other races, there are a few strong men that can stand head to head against dragons. Those people, even in the face of a dragon, are not inferior. There are even a few of them who can kill dragons using their overwhelming strength. And there are legends amongst the people that dragon meat is a delicacy that brings countless magical effects to the body. Thinking of that, Alex can't help but start to expect. However, it didn't take long before a frown appeared on his face. You said that they bring back dragons weekly, right?" The beastman girl nodded, "Yes, why?" Alex shook his head and said, "Nothing." Meanwhile, inside his head, Alex thought, since they can bring it weekly, it's impossible that what they sell is a real dragon. At most, it should just be a dragon subspecies such as wyverns. Sighing, Alex felt a bit disappointed. I shouldn't have expected too much. It doesn't matter. I guess I should just try out their food here. Thinking of that, Alex called the little girl standing on the side. Hey, I would like to order food now. Hurriedly, the girl walked forward with a smile and politely said, so what will you be eating today? Chapter 73. Miraculous Effects. Pointing at the dishes on the menu, Alex ordered almost everything except for the dragon blood. At the same time, he didn't forget to order everything for Fairy. After Alex ordered, the Beastman girl smiled and said, okay, sir. I'll try my best to bring you your order immediately. Just as she finished saying that, she took the menu and hurriedly left to process the orders. Seeing just how hyper and active that small girl is, Alex can't help but find her cute. Like a cute stuffed toy that everyone wants to have because it brings around good vibes. Anyway, Alex sat there, patiently waiting for his food to arrive. Feeling bored, Alex opened his character panel. 0. Class, Dungeon Master. Level, 25. Talent, Fortune's Embodiment Luck Points, 598. Health, 6860/6860. Mana, 5660/5660. Strength, 500 Constitution, 500 Agility, 500 Intelligence, 500 Charisma, 500. Free Attributes, 1250. Skill Points, 164. Skills, Sacrifice, U, Monster Manipulation, A, Lord's Sanctuary, A, Fireball, D, Earth Spike, D, Wind Blade, D, Freeze, D, Water Ball, D, Stealth, D, Concealment, A. Looking at the high number of free attributes that he still has, Alex's lips curled up into a smile. Since I don't plan to hatch the dragon egg for now, maybe I should add all of this into my stats first. Thinking of that, Alex finds it more reasonable. If I add it now, after I go through the trial tower and multiply my stats, it can increase by more. Without hesitation, Alex started to add his points. However, just as he tried to add, a notification suddenly appeared in front of him. Hint: you have reached the upper limit of your level for stats. You can't add more stats at the moment. Alex froze after reading it. There was actually a limit. Sighing, he said, I thought I could take advantage of the trial tower to multiply my stats more. Well, since I can't add it, then just forget it. At least I can add those free attributes to the dragon egg whenever I want to. Alex stopped thinking about the free attributes and turned his attention to his talent. Because I've been killing here and there, my luck points have also started to pile up. Looking at his points, that's already close to 600, Alex said, with this amount, Fortune can continuously run for 10 minutes. I wonder where I can use it. Alex started thinking of coming up with ways to use and take advantage of his luck. As he was thinking, the Beastman girl came with a tray full of food in it. Customer, here's your orders. She placed down the tray in front of Alex and smiled happily. Alex's eyes were immediately attracted to the foods on his table. It was a complete meal. There's fried rice mixed with dragon meat, a perfectly cooked dragon steak, and a huge chunk of roasted dragon meat. The savory smell of the food assaulted his nose as soon as it appeared in front of him. After smelling it, Alex's eyes lit up. Wow, this all smells so good. Of course, this is the reason why we're really popular, said the Beastman girl on the side. Alex nodded. Then he said, let me taste it then to see if it tastes as good as its smell. Hearing that, the Beastman girl waited on the side with an expectant smile. Alex scooped up a spoonful of fried rice with a chunk of meat and brought it to his mouth. Immediately, Alex felt an explosion of flavors inside his mouth. Wow, I never tasted something this good before. Seeing Alex's reaction, the Beastman girl giggled and said, I told you, right? Our store is really popular because of these. Yeah, these are really great foods, Alex said. Then he turned to look at the Beastman girl, only to see her staring at his food with drool dripping down the corner of her mouth. Alex paused and said, would you like to eat some? Really? Then don't mind if I do. Without hesitation, she sat down on the chair opposite to Alex and scooped some rice with the spoon that she pulled out from her pockets. Seeing her series of actions, Alex was really speechless. Shaking his head, Alex stopped minding it and just continued eating as well. A few minutes later, the food on the table disappeared. The beastman girl leaned her back on the chair with a satisfied expression. "Phew, dragon meat is really so good," she said while patting her building stomach. Alex chuckled, finding her appearance a little funny. Just as he was about to say something, he suddenly felt a warm current erupting inside his body. Alex's eyes widened. He said, "This feeling. Was what I ate just now really dragon meat?" Alex is really surprised now. If what he ate is just a normal food, he wouldn't get this kind of reaction in his body. The only possible reason is that the dishes here are really made with real dragons. At this time, the beastman girl have also sat up with her eyes closed. Alex looked at her and asked, "Hey, what are you doing?" Without opening her eyes, the girl said, "I am trying to control the energy from the dragon meat into my limbs. That way, my limbs will become stronger and more nimble. Through this, I can also strengthen my control over my body." After saying that, she stopped talking and focused more on guiding the energy. This is one of the amazing effects of the dragon meat. With its energy, people can better control their muscles if they absorbed the energy there. You have to know, having strong control over your muscles and strength can decide who will come out as a winner in a fight. Someone who have better control can make use of his strength more efficiently and effectively. Of course, that's not all the benefits that dragon meat can do. Or else, it won't be considered a miraculous meat. The next moment, a notification appeared on Alex's eyes. Ding! Chapter 74. Dragon Scales. Ding! You ate the meat of a dragon and acquired the skill Dragon Scales. Hearing the notification, Alex was ecstatic. This is one of the benefits brought by eating a dragon. Being able to gain their skills when they're still alive. Of course, this is not 100%. There's only a small probability for someone to acquire a skill. It's a very rare occurrence. However, even though it's rare, it is still called miraculous because every dragon's skills are really strong. Earlier, he was doubtful whether those foods are really made with dragon meat, so he didn't turn on fortune. Fortunately, Alex is really lucky even without turning on the heaven-defying fortune state. Alex hurriedly looked at his newly acquired skill. Dragon Scales. Details: use mana to simulate the scale of a dragon to form a layer of defensive shield on your skin that can withstand 5 times of your current constitution stat. Duration: 10 minutes. Consumption: 500 mana. Cooldown: 1 hour. After seeing the skill's details, Alex's eyes shone brightly. Yes, I got a strong defensive skill. Alex is genuinely happy getting this skill. Even though currently, there hasn't been an enemy that can deal damage to him, having a defensive skill is never a loss. Also, Alex saw just how strong this skill is. Especially with him who can increase any of his stats to an unimaginable level. At the moment, as long as he doesn't meet anyone with strength stat higher than 2500, no one can break Alex's defense whenever he's using this skill. Of course, we can't leave the possibility of some skill causing damage equal to 2500 strength. However, just thinking of it, anyone who can have 2500 strength stat should be someone on a super high level such as tier 4 to tier 5 players. So currently, at the same level, Alex's defense can be called unbreakable. As Alex is still looking at his new skill, the cat ears of the beastman girl twitched before her eyes suddenly snap open. Looking at Alex with focused eyes, she asked, "Did you just say that you got a new skill?" Alex glanced at her and casually said, "Hi? Oh, you're done." "Yeah, I got a new skill. It's an incredible defensive skill in my opinion." The beastman girl suddenly stood up from her seat and with wide eyes, she said, "You really got a dragon skill." Because of her loud voice, everyone in the diner heard her and turned their eyes in Alex's direction. The previously lively place suddenly became quiet. Alex looked at the little girl and complained in his heart. "Damn it, people in this river city really like yelling, don't they?" As if realizing her mistake, the beastman girl immediately covered her mouth. Then, as if she remembered something, she exclaimed and said, "Ah! Please wait here, I'm going to call the owner." She hurriedly left the table, heading towards the manager's office. Seeing that, Alex felt like he's going to have a headache. Feeling the eyes gathering at him, Alex finally made a decision. "Sigh, I don't want to be bothered by anyone right now, so I guess I have to leave River City now." Just like what was mentioned earlier, the probability of getting a skill from eating dragon meat is very low to the point that it's been labeled impossible by many people. So, what would happen if someone acquired a skill like that? You can guess it by thinking a little. Looking around, Alex stood up and calmly walked towards the comfort room. His movements were seen by everyone in the diner, but Alex didn't care. Finally, when he entered the comfort room, Alex immediately used stealth on himself and silently came out of the comfort room. This time, no one noticed him and he hurriedly walked out of the restaurant while trying to remain as quiet as he could. Once outside, Alex looked back at the entrance of Dragon Diner and heaved a sigh of relief after seeing no one noticed him. Next, Alex went to the stable where Fairy is currently resting with a satisfied face. When Alex arrived on the stable, he was still using stealth. With that, no one noticed him. Of course, except Fairy. The moment that he appeared, Fairy started looking around while sniffing the air. Then, when he finally pinpointed where the scent was coming, he looked at Alex's direction without doing anything. Realizing that Fairy already noticed him, Alex undid the stealth and looked at him with a smile. He said, "Fairy, something happened, so we have to leave River City now." Hearing that, Fairy approached Alex and gently rubbed his head on him. Alex's smile can't help but widen by seeing Fairy acting so affectionately. After all, Fairy was just a wild wind wolf in the past and was only controlled by Alex with the help of monster manipulation. But now, even without the monster manipulation skill, Alex can feel that Fairy is already so close to him. That Fairy has been successfully tamed by him. Anyway, Alex rode on Fairy's back before casting stealth again to make the both of them disappear from other people's eyes. Then, just like that, the two of them headed towards the city gate. Once they were near the gate, Alex considerately removed the stealth when passing through an alley to not startle the people by their sudden appearance. Since there was no line when leaving the city, Alex and Fairy just walked out without attracting attention. After passing through the gate, Alex sighed and said, "It was unfortunate that I didn't get to enjoy a lot of things in River City." But when he thought about his new skill Dragon Scales, his mood immediately became better. Then, he patted Fairy, saying, "Let's hurry up. Those people might follow us if we dilly-dally, that'll be annoying." Fairy moved with haste and they soon disappeared within the forest path ahead of them. At the city gate where Alex passed through, two women who looked to be around the age of 20 to 25 came running, accompanied by the Beastman girl who ate with Alex earlier. Their purpose, unknown. Chapter 75. Dragon Diner's purpose. Suddenly, one of the girls wearing a red dress clicked her tongue with an annoyed look. "Tisk, he already left." Beside her, a woman wearing a light blue dress said, "Sister, please calm down." "How can I calm down when the only chance we have disappears right in front of our eyes?" the other fiercely replied. Hearing that, the mood of the girl wearing a light blue dress also went down. For a moment, there was silence between them. At this time, the Beastman girl, Shishi, opened her mouth and sadly said, "Owner and chef, I'm sorry. I think it's because of me that he suddenly ran away." That's right, the identity of these two women are the owner and the chef of the famous restaurant, Dragon Diner. The sisters Paula and Azul. When they heard the sad and guilty voice of Shishi, the sisters suddenly fell silent. Shishi has been with them since she was 5 years old, that's why they treat and already consider her as their own sister. That's why, seeing her sad makes their heart go soft. Finally, Paula, the one in the red dress, sighed and caressed Shishi's head. Unlike before, she now has a gentle tone as she said, "Shishi, don't blame yourself, it's not your fault, okay?" "That's right, Shishi, you didn't do anything to them, so why would you think you're the reason?" Followed by Azul. A hesitant look appeared on Shishi's face after hearing their words. With a guilty voice, she said, That, maybe because I ate his food." While speaking, she tried to speak with a small voice like a mosquito. But it was still heard clearly by the two sisters and they were stunned. With a confused tone, Azul asked, "That? Shishi, why did you eat his food?" "Because, it looks good." After hearing Shishi's answer, the two sisters were speechless. In the end, they can only sigh. At this time, Paula said, "Well, that person is gone now, let's go back to the restaurant now." Azul nodded. The three started walking back to the restaurant in a low mood. At this time, Azul approached Paula and said, "Sis, is he really gone?" Clearly, she was talking about Alex. Paula nodded, "Yes, he already left River City and we can't even follow him outside with his speed." Azul was disappointed after hearing that. "So, how are going to save father?" Paula shook her head, "I don't know as well." After that, the two no longer continued talking and just quietly walked back to Dragon Diner. In the past, Paula and Azul were hailed as the most beautiful flowers of the Kiesis kingdom. Suitors come left and right, trying to pursue them. Even if those people are direct members of the 5 great families of Kiesis, Paula and Azul can still act arrogant and not pay attention to them. And their capital for that? Their father, the strongest general of Kiesis, Gilbert Crisostomo. Hailed as the #1 sword of the kingdom who brought countless victories. Even the king respects Gilbert and treats him closely like a friend. So, because of this, Noon dared to act preposterously with the 2 sisters. Unfortunately, there's always an end to happy stories. In one of the army's expeditions in a hidden dungeon, their father was attacked by a poison dragon and was inflicted with a deadly poison. After coming back to the kingdom, Gilbert collapsed and fell into a coma. Because of that, the 2 sisters lost their support in the Kiesis kingdom. As someone who stood at the top, there are inevitably people who doesn't like Gilbert. Other nobles, evil organizations, even officials of other nearby kingdoms. Living as a general all his life, he have gathered countless honor as well as enemies. Because of that, the 2 sisters was put in a very perilous situation. So, the 2 of them can only hide here in one of the cities far away from the capital to not be discovered by their father's enemies in the kingdom. And here, in River City, they established Dragon Diner just for one purpose. To look for someone who can absorb the skill of a dragon from its meat. Because the only way to save their father is to use the skill Dragon's Blood. This is different from the one in their menu. Dragon's Blood is a skill that has a lot of effects including detoxifying dragon poison. However, to obtain this skill is to drink dragon blood in their menu and the probability is even the lowest of all. As for why they were looking for Alex, it's because he was the only successful case that they have who acquired the dragon skill. And someone who already obtained it, his chance of acquiring more dragon skills are higher than anyone else. Meaning, they want Alex to earn the skill Dragon's Blood and save their dying father. Unfortunately for them, Alex left and they can't even follow him. After leaving River City, Alex entered a lush forest called Witch Path as written on the map. As they were traveling, Alex remembered something and asked, "Fairy, you ate back there as well, right?" Fairy barked in response. "Woof. Then, did you get any skill from the dragon meat?" "Woof." Alex's eyes lit up. He understood Fairy's response in his heart because of their connection. Just as he thought, Fairy indeed acquired a skill like him. Curiously, Alex said, "Is that so? Then, can you show it to me?" Just as Alex said that, Fairy opened his mouth and suddenly, fire started coming out. "Whoa, you got Dragon's Fire Breath." As one of the main attack skill of dragons, Dragon's Fire Breath is a really powerful skill. Alex is very happy to have a new attack skill. Even though it's not exactly his, at least it will still be useful in combat. Now, even though Fairy's stats are lower than him, he can now contribute to battles. With this news, Alex traveled in a light mood. At this time, he still doesn't know that in the near future, he will once again encounter the sisters that he ran away from. Chapter 76. Is there anyone sitting with you? 6 days later, Alex finally arrived at his final destination. The royal capital, Najils. Hot traveling for 7 straight days was really exhausting. Maybe next time I should bring a motorcycle or a car here. Shaking his head, Alex said, "Anyway, this place really looks majestic. Worthy of being called the royal capital." Just like Alex said, Najils is a really grand place full of things that can only be imagined by most people in remote towns like Cupido town. Here, elegance is at the epitome in Alex's opinion. High-class carriages and people wearing jewelry are not uncommon here. The roads are also well made, you can really see that it is made with great materials. However, under the glamorous look of this capital, the dark slum here is bigger than in any other city. Alex didn't pay much attention to anything. Right now, all his thoughts are focused on one thing. Trial Tower. It is the only reason why Alex took the time to travel for 7 whole days from Cupido town all the way here to the capital, Najils. When Alex successfully entered the capital, he immediately noticed a tall tower at the heart of the capital, piercing through the cloud. Excitement flashed through Alex's eyes as he exclaimed, "Whoa, is that the Trial Tower? It looks really amazing. I can't wait anymore, Fairy, let's go towards that tower." Woof. Just as the two were planning to head towards the tower, Alex and Fairy's stomach suddenly sounded at the same time. Growl. Alex paused, with a wry smile, he said, "Well, I guess it doesn't matter if we eat lunch first." Fairy whimpered, agreeing with Alex. So, a pair of a human and a wolf started searching for a place to eat. The capital is really the capital, even restaurants and other establishments are countless here. From left to right, you will see restaurants of all kinds, selling each of their specialty, trying to attract customers through their great dishes. Alex randomly entered one of the restaurants that had a lot of customers and sat down on an empty seat. As usual, Fairy was once again left in a stable. Alex picked up the menu that's already on the table and started choosing some dishes that looked appetizing. After he finished, Alex called for a server and told his order. The server left soon after. Alex leaned his back on the seat, closed his eyes and started listening to the voice and conversation of the people around. This is one of the reasons why Alex went to a restaurant that's bustling with people, to listen to some news. Hey, Roger did it again. He entered one of his neighbors' houses and tried to seduce people. Hey? Who's Roger? Also, did he seduce the wife or the daughter? None of the above, he seduced the father. Hearing their messy conversation, Alex stopped listening and started searching for another target. Soon, Alex found news that piqued his interest. On a table not far away, a group of 4 people are eating while talking joyously. Tisk tisk, Miss Elisa did it again. Yeah, she is really amazing. No, she's not just amazing, she's godly. I agree, imagine, she's only 19 years old this year and she's already at level 100, and a certified tier 3 player. Yes, she's really worthy of being called a genius. The Flores family is about to have another powerhouse. Soon enough, they might start dominating the 3 other great houses. When one of the 4 said that, the eyes of the other 3 widened and they hurriedly covered his mouth. SHH. Don't say such stupid things. Yeah, if someone hears you, you might get beaten up or worse, you can even get yourself killed. Realizing his mistake, the man's face turned pale and cold sweat ran down his back. Looking around, he breathed a sigh of relief after seeing that nobody heard him. He looked back at his friends and said, "Thank you, brothers, I owe you one this time." The others waved their hands dismissively, not really taking it seriously. After a while, they were about to start back the topic when suddenly, everyone fell silent. The noisy restaurant suddenly fell silent. Confused, Alex opened his eyes, only to see that everyone was looking at the entrance of the restaurant. Alex followed their eyes and saw a beautiful girl with a cold temperament entering the restaurant. From her looks, Alex estimates that she's around her late teens or early 20s. From her movements, there was a certain elegance to it that others can't imitate. When she entered the restaurant, her presence seemed to weigh down on everyone, making them all look meek. Alex was confused, wondering about the identity of this girl. However, he didn't have to think long because people started whispering quietly to each other. Wow, that's Miss Elisa, right? Yeah, she's really so beautiful. Oh, not only is she beautiful, she's also strong and rich. She's like the perfect girl that heaven sent down on our world. All kinds of praise came out of the people's mouth while looking at the girl at the entrance. Now, Alex finally learned the identity of that girl. The genius of the Flores family, Elisa Flores. Looking at her, Alex muttered, "Ha, those 4 guys were just talking about her a minute ago and suddenly, she appeared here." At this time, a waitress approached Elisa. Cautiously, she said, "Ma'am Elisa, there's currently no available table. But, if you want, we can clear a table just for you." Hearing her words, Elisa turned her eyes at her, causing the waitress to lower her head and stare at the ground. Indifferently, she said, "No need, I'll just look for an empty seat." After saying that, she looked around before finally locking her eyes on Alex's table. Then she told the waitress, "There, I'll sit on that man's table." Without waiting for her to reply, Elisa already started walking towards Alex. Stopping in front of Alex, with a cold face, she asked, "Is there anyone sitting with you?" Chapter 77. Elisa Flores. Is there anyone sitting here with you? Alex looked at the cold woman staring down at him while asking a question. Without doubt, Alex heard what she said when she was still standing at the entrance. Not wanting other customers to be shooed, she decided to just look for a seat and share a table with a stranger. For that, Alex can't help but have a good impression of this genius girl. Unexpectedly, the target that she found was actually his table. Thinking of it, a genius girl sitting with him, it's quite normal. Alex didn't take this so-called genius at heart. For him, genius or not, they are all just the same. What he should focus on is making him stronger and stronger. Anyway, feeling Elisa staring at him, Alex shook his head and said, "No, there's no one there." "Then, can I sit with you?" "Sure, go ahead." With Alex's approval, Elisa finally sat down on the chair opposite of him and said, "Thanks." After that, Elisa called a server and ordered some food. When the server left, Elisa had nothing else to do and was planning to close her eyes while waiting. However, when she remembered that there's a stranger with her, she thought for a second before introducing herself. "Thank you for letting me sit here. My name is Elisa Flores, pleased to meet you," she said, stretching out her hand to Alex. Alex smiled and responded, "I'm Zero." He grabbed her hand and shook it before immediately letting go. That action caused Elisa to raise an eyebrow. Normally, when she's shaking hands with other people, whether they are a man or a woman, they always like holding her hand for an extended period of time. Because of that, she actually doesn't like shaking hands with other people. Unexpectedly, here in a restaurant that she took a fancy in, she met a man who doesn't seem to care about her at all. But she didn't care much about it and just honestly waited for her food to arrive. Less than 5 minutes later, the food they ordered arrived at the same time. When they saw the food they each ordered, Elisa and Alex looked at each other. Surprisingly, they ordered exactly the same thing. Stir-fried vegetables, pancit canton, beef stew, etc. Alex was the first one to speak. With a smile, he said, "Looks like we share the same taste with food, hey." Hearing his words, a slight smile also appeared on Elisa's face as she said, "It seems like that's the case, Mr. Zero." After a small conversation, the two started eating their food. Elisa ate her food while maintaining proper etiquette. Her elegance didn't diminish one bit while eating. As for Alex, he didn't really care about such things, but you can still see that he is very clean. 10 minutes later, Alex finished eating. Taking a gold coin from his inventory, Alex placed it on the table and stood up. Seeing his movements, Elisa looked at him and asked, "Are you leaving now, Mr. Zero?" To that, Alex nodded, "Yes, I still have something to do, so I have to leave now." "Understood, please take care on your way." "Yes, thank you," Alex said, "please continue enjoying your meal." After saying that, Alex headed out of the restaurant without looking back. Once outside, Alex smiled and said, "Now then, time to head to the trial tower." After picking up Fairy from the stables, the two of them directly headed towards the trial tower. When they arrived at the periphery of the tower, Alex noticed that a lot of guards wearing heavy armor were standing around it. So the trial tower is really heavily guarded, hey? Well, that makes sense. After all, it is necessary for players to break through and advance their tier. Soon, Alex and Fairy approached one of the guards. When those guards saw them going near them, they loudly said, "Halt!" Immediately, their movements came to a pause. Seeing that, those guards relaxed and asked, "State your purpose." Without saying anything, Alex took out his guild card and showed it to them. The guards looked at it carefully. When they saw that he was a level 25, they finally let down their guard and said, "Okay, enter the tower and make sure to not forget about writing your name on the stone list at the entrance." After saying that, they once again turned silent and just focused on guarding the tower. Alex turned his eyes to Fairy and said, "Fairy, wait for me to finish the trial here. It won't take long." Fairy whimpered after hearing that and rubbed his head on Alex's. After rubbing Fairy's head for a while, Alex finally turned around and entered the trial tower. Just as Alex entered, he saw a huge stone monument that had countless names written on it. This should be the stone the guard was talking about. But, how am I going to write down my name there? After thinking about it, Alex shrugged and approached the stone. Instinctively, Alex thought of touching the stone and so, he did. That's when a system notification appeared. Ding! It was detected that you are challenging the trial tower. Would you like to write down your name on the stone monument? Yes/no. Seeing that, Alex paused for a second before pressing the yes button. For a moment, Alex saw the stone monument glowed lightly. It died down not even a second later and Alex didn't see any changes on the stone. I wonder what's the purpose of this stone. Curiously, Alex started looking carefully at the stone and noticed that beside the names, there was something else written on it. The floors. After seeing that, Alex finally got a preliminary guess as to what the stone monument's purpose is. Rubbing his chin, Alex said, from this, it seems like this stone monument records the final floor that challengers achieve in the trial tower. A smile suddenly crept up his lips and he said, I wonder if it's connected to all the other trial tower. Chapter 78. Item drops. Building up a good reputation is a necessary thing for those that want to climb to the top. Because of that, even though Alex is only level 25 at the moment, he's already thinking of building his own reputation. And right now, Alex thought about a good way to do that with the help of the trial tower. Just like Elisa, as someone who's already a tier 3 player at the age of 19, she is known to everyone as a genius. Alex also plans to use the trial tower to build his own image as a genius. With a smile, Alex's eyes lingered on the stone monument for a few seconds before turning away and moving deeper into the trial tower. There's only one path inside the tower and Alex walked for a while before seeing an opening. Looking around, Alex saw that he arrived in a dark and gloomy place that looked to be a cave. The only source of light inside the room is a few torches burning with blue light. Ding! You entered the trial tower's first floor. Alex observed his surroundings curiously and said, so this is the trial tower's first floor, hey? At this time, the flames on the torches suddenly started flickering as if it's been disturbed by the wind. The next moment, something that caused Alex to frown happened in front of him. Pixels appeared out of thin air and slowly turned into animal-like body parts. Then after a few seconds, the pixels finally turned into a 2.5-meter tall monster with a big body and huge horns. On that monster's hand, it was holding a big hammer that seemed to be covered in blood. When the monster was fully revealed, Alex finally learned its identity. Minotaur. A notification appeared while Alex is still looking at the Minotaur. Ding! Please defeat the enemy and advance to the next floor. Alex glanced at it before turning his eyes back at the Minotaur. To be prepared, Alex used Inspect on the Minotaur. Minotaur. Level, 25. Strength, 99 Constitution, 91 Intelligence, 36 Agility, 54. Minotaur is a leader class monster. Because of that, its overall stats are greater than ordinary monsters of the same level. Normally, if an ordinary adventurer saw a leader class monster, they can only despair because they are no match to it. However, in front of Alex, it's the Minotaur who has to face despair. The Minotaur looked at Alex and opened its mouth, seemingly about to roar. Seeing that, Alex squinted and said, I don't like it loud right now, so you have to say goodbye. The next moment, Alex casted magic at the Minotaur. Earth Spike. Suddenly, spikes sprouted from the ground near the Minotaur and attacked it. When the Minotaur saw that, panic flashed through its eyes and attempted to dodge. Unfortunately, it was too slow and was pierced by multiple spikes in the end. In its dying breath, the Minotaur looked at Alex with confusion and sadness. As if saying, if you don't want it loud, just say so, why did you have to kill me like that? In response, Alex only smiled until the Minotaur finally burst into countless pixels. Ding! Congratulations, you cleared the first floor of the trial tower. You can now advance to the next floor. At the same time as the notification appeared, stairs suddenly formed on the walls, heading upstairs. Alex smiled and said, well, that was easy. After saying that, he was about to go to the stairs and head towards the next floor. But something on the ground suddenly caught his eyes. What is this? Alex crouched and looked at the items on the ground. After a close inspection, Alex saw that it was 3 silver coins, a bull horn, and a steel hammer. When he saw all of it, Alex immediately realized what these things were and exclaimed, item drops. Item drop, or some people called loots. They are items that appear after you defeat a monster and their body disappears. So the monsters here in the trial tower have item drops. I didn't think of that, I should have turned on fortune to get more drops. Alex usually hunts in the wild where the monster leaves carcasses and not item drops. Because of that, he didn't think about item drops. But now that he knows, Alex of course won't waste this chance. Alex put all the items dropped by the Minotaur in his inventory before proceeding to the next floor. The next floor is still the same layout as the first one. However, this time 2 appeared for Alex to fight. Alex didn't feel scared even after seeing that the number of monsters doubled. Instead, his eyes lit up and he felt happy. With more monsters, there will be more items to be dropped. Rubbing his hands together, Alex turned on fortune and jumped towards the Minotaurs. Thanks in advance. Saying that, Alex killed the both of them with one hit before turning off fortune. When the body of the two minotaurs disappeared, Alex looked at the ground and as expected, there were now items on the ground. Alex smiled, now then, let's see what kind of items I got after turning on Fortune State. Alex walked closer to the drops and crouched down. Immediately, a smile bloomed on Alex's face. Hee, I'm really lucky. On the ground, 2 pieces of gold coins, 2 vials of unknown potions, a big red hammer, and a ring appeared. Let's see what these things are. Alex first picked up the unknown potions and used Inspect. Strength Potion. Details: increase strength stats by 10 after drinking. Ooh! This thing is quite good. Even though it's useless to me, I can sell it at a high price once I come out. Alex immediately thought of selling the strength potion since he doesn't need it. And Alex also already has a target in mind on who he is going to sell it. The image of the cold beauty back at the restaurant crossed his mind and he smiled. If I meet her again after I come out, I will make sure to sell this thing to her. Chapter 79. Minotaur's King. Shaking his head, Alex threw the potions in his inventory and turned his attention back to the drop items. The next item that Alex picked up is the red hammer. The fiery red color of the hammer gave it an intensity that you won't normally feel from a hammer. Alex weighed the hammer with his hands and said, this one is quite heavy, hey. Maybe I can use it when going against some stronger opponents. Just like before, Alex also viewed the information of the hammer. Blazing Hammer. Rating: Rare. Attack Power: 709/01. Effects: Hot Weapon, additional fire damage will be added to all critical attacks. Restrictions: Level 25 or higher, 200 Strength, 200 Constitution. Details: a hammer that's been bathed in fire for decades and slowly absorbed the power of fire to strengthen itself. Seeing the information of the hammer, Alex can't help but raise an eyebrow. Wow, this one is really a great item, hey. You have to know that every 1 point of strength is equivalent to 1 attack power. Although because of the other stats, that's not really that accurate. However, if you just think of that, just by equipping this hammer, you will gain 709/01 more attack power. If you're facing an opponent that has an equal number of stats with you, by using this hammer, you can surely overpower your enemy. Alex decided to keep this one for himself. Next, Alex picked the last item, the ring. Looking at it carefully, Alex didn't see anything special from its appearance. Is this just an ordinary ring? Seeing its ordinary appearance, Alex thought that it was nothing special. But knowing that you can't judge an item by its appearance, Alex used Inspect on it. Minotaur's King. Rating: Epic. Effects: King, make the Minotaurs submit to you. Details: the ring used by the King of Minotaurs, a monster known for his strength that overwhelms a lot of other monsters. Alex looked at the ring on his hand and a thoughtful look on his face. What the hell am I going to do with this? Shaking his head, Alex thought that it was useless. In the end, Alex decided to just throw it away on his inventory. After that, Alex continued climbing up the tower. He walked up the new stairs and arrived at the 3rd floor of the tower. Just like before, a monster once again appeared in front of him along with the notification from the system. This time, there are 3 minotaurs facing Alex. Without wasting time, Alex killed the minotaurs with a punch as soon as they formed and continued climbing. It's been 7 days already, why haven't Alex contacted us yet? Glenn asked with a frown. Rolando shook his head, with a helpless look. He said, I also don't know. I already asked Chris about him but she told me that she hasn't been able to contact him and Alex didn't go to school for a whole week. After Rolando said that, everyone in the room suddenly fell silent. It's been a week since that night they invited Alex. Originally, Alex didn't give them an exact answer for Jonathan's offer that night so they thought Alex might come the next day to give his answer. But after days passed, there was no word from Alex which confused and worried. While everyone still didn't know what to do, Chris, who's sitting on a sofa, spoke. She said, have you guys forgotten? Her words immediately attracted all eyes on her, questioning what she was talking about. Seeing their clueless look, Chris sighed, didn't you guys listen to Alex that night? He said that he was preparing to go to the capital and enter the trial tower. After being reminded by her, an enlightened look dawned on everyone in the room. Luckily, Jonathan isn't here or else, he would have smacked these kids of his for being how they are. Oh, speaking of Jonathan, he already went back to Alter Dimension to manage the territory that their family owns. It's because a war has in their kingdom and currently, a lot of things are happening, that's why Jonathan personally stepped in. Anyway, after everyone remembered Alex's goal of advancing, they finally relaxed. Well, that's good. I almost thought that a genius like Alex just suddenly slipped out of our family, said Rosa. At this time, Glenn once again opened his mouth and said, but, are we sure that he is really in Alter Dimension or Trial Tower right now? To that, Rolando smiled and said, isn't that easy to say? Let's go to his house and check if he's really not there. Saying that, he turned to Chris and said, my dear daughter, let's go. Guide us towards where Alex lives. Against Rolando, Chris is no match and can only obediently follow her father inside a car. Soon, Rolando, Chris, Glenn, and Rosa has left the manor. Alter Dimension. Rejum Kingdom. This is the kingdom where the Raven family has been a member of since the day they started diving in the Alter world. At this time, Jonathan is inside the room with someone wearing some fanciful clothes. That person is a chubby middle-aged man with a sharp look on his face. At this time, that person raised his head and looked at Jonathan, saying, making empty promises are easy, but investments is a really hard thing to do. As someone you're asking for an investment from, can you give me a reason why I should give it to you and not someone else? When Jonathan heard that, he stared at chubby middle-aged man for some time, trying to understand the man's personality and said, Duke, even though it's hard to believe right now, with the way the war is currently going, there's a huge chance that our kingdom is going to lose. What I'm promising here is the guarantee that we won't be losing our land and we might even get a chance to eat the land they are currently fighting for. Chapter 80. 10th Floor, Minotaur King. Duke Ethan Bernard, the head of the Bernard family of Rejum Kingdom. That is the identity of the one in front of Jonathan. Even though Jonathan can act like a person at the top in front of his family and Alex, in front of the chubby Bernard, he has to always remain polite. That is because Jonathan's nobility is only that of a count. Compared to a duke who rules over a vast land, it was a few ranks apart. Also, the Bernard family is well known in the whole Rejum as a family that always produces great players. That is to say, in their family, there are a lot of people who possess great power. Jonathan knows that he can't go against them. At the moment, Jonathan is trying to persuade the head of the Bernard family, Ethan Bernard, to invest in one of his players with warrior class. To recruit or raise mages all over the country to strengthen the force of the kingdom. In other words, to build a magician unit. You might be wondering, what's Jonathan's confidence to ask a duke to invest in such a plan of building a magician unit? Well, Jonathan actually possesses an epic rank class, the Archmage. Thanks to that, Jonathan actually became one of the most prominent people in Rejum. Jonathan was also granted nobility all because of his achievements in wars, that was all because of his class, Archmage. That is why, in front of Duke Bernard, Jonathan is only polite. It is also the reason why a duke such as Bernard, came to a count's place personally. Anyway, because of his Archmage class, Jonathan wants to build a force that purely consists of strong firepower, or in other words, pure mages. Jonathan looked at Ethan seriously and said, Duke Bernard, please think about what benefits creating such a force will bring us. All I'm asking from you is to support me, and in exchange, I promise you that I will help you when you need my support. Hearing that, a thoughtful look appeared on Ethan's face. For a while, the room was dominated by silence. Jonathan waited patiently for Ethan to respond, keeping his eyes focused on him. Finally, after a few minutes passed, Ethan opened his mouth and said, Okay, fine. However, I will only support you financially until the magical unit has been fully established. After that, there will be no more. Instantly, a smile bloomed on Jonathan's face. But before he even said anything, Ethan looked at him and said, In exchange, you have to help me with one thing. Ethan moved closer to Jonathan and whispered something. Immediately, Jonathan was startled. He looked at Ethan with incredulous eyes and asked, Are you serious? Trial Tower. 10th floor. It took Alex less than 10 minutes to arrive at the 10th from the first floor. Along the way, the numbers of minotaurs increase with every floor. But without exception, all of them only took one hit from Alex to die. That's why, climbing up to the 10th was really nothing to Alex. The real reason that it took Alex 10 minutes was because he was picking up and inspecting the loot that he got on every floor. Anyway, thanks to fortune, Alex got quite a bountiful harvest this time. His inventory is already packed with all kinds of things from those Minotaur's item drops. Anyway, Alex arrived at the 10th floor without any hassle. Looking around, Alex noticed that the surroundings here are different from the past floors he's been to. The walls are actually now brick walls. It looks quite similar to the walls I made on the labyrinth at Lucky Dungeon. Alex commented. While he was looking around, 2 consecutive notifications popped up in front of him. Ding! Congratulations, you have reached the top floor for Tier 1 Advancement Challengers. Ding! As you have stepped into the 10th floor, the boss class monster, Minotaur King has awakened. Please defeat the Minotaur King to advance to Tier 1. The next second, a monster that is twice as big as the previous Minotaurs materialized in front of him. The Minotaur King is a pretty huge monster. It has a humanoid body, however, its head is that of a very fierce-looking bull. On its hand, a giant hammer with various unknown inscriptions written on it was being swung around by the Minotaur King like it was nothing. As soon as it appeared, its eyes were already looking at Alex. Opening its mouth that's full of vicious-looking teeth, it let out a loud roar. Ruwa-ar-r. The sound echoed all over the 10th floor. However, because of the loud noise, a frown appeared on Alex's face. Irritably, he said, "Aish, these bulls are really all loud creatures. They are loud but don't really amount to anything. How sad." Alex shook his head with a disappointed look. Then he looked at the intimidatingly huge Minotaur in front of him and said, "Even using Inspect on you is just a waste of time. I should just go ahead and beat you up." After his voice died down, Alex jumped towards the Minotaur King and in just a blink of an eye, he appeared above the 4-5 meters tall monster. The Minotaur King was startled with Alex's sudden appearance above it. Hurriedly, the Minotaur King raised its giant hammer and swung it at Alex. Or-a-a-a-a! It yelled as it exerted strength with its muscular arms as it attacked Alex. Alex didn't even bat an eye after seeing that and just punched the hammer lightly. Boom! A shockwave was generated when Alex's fist and the Minotaur King's hammer met. Dust rose from the ground, covering the 2 of them from plain sight. Once the dust disappeared, the figure of the 2 of them became visible. At this time, Alex is already back on the ground, standing still. On the other hand, the Minotaur King is now standing a few meters away from its original spot. When Alex saw that, he whistled and said, "Wow, this is the first time that someone managed to withstand one of my punches." Then he smiled and said, "Well, let's see just how much of my strength can you handle." After saying that, Alex once again launched an attack. Chapter 81. Tier 1 Advancement. Ding! Congratulations, you defeated the Minotaur King on the 10th floor. You completed the last floor of the Trial Tower and successfully advanced to Tier 1. Congratulations, you leveled up. Congratulations, you leveled up. Congratulations, you leveled up. Congratulations! Alex succeeded in beating the Minotaur King after just a few punches. Seeing the notifications that appeared one after the other, Alex smiled. Finally, have successfully advanced into a Tier 1 player. I also leveled up a lot thanks to the experience points that have been accumulated in the past weeks. The level up notifications only stopped after Alex leveled up for 12 times. Instantly, Alex went from level 25 to level 37. It can't be helped. After all, Alex really killed a lot of monsters and people alike in the past few days. Moreover, a lot of those monsters are even 1-star monsters, giving Alex a decently high amount of experience points. Anyway, after looking at his level, Alex turned his eyes on the ground where the Minotaur King stood right before it died. A lot of items lay there on the ground, flickering from time to time as if attracting Alex to pick them up. All of these are the drop items of the Minotaur King. Seeing that, Alex smiled, as expected of a boss-class monster, it really gives a lot of items. Now then, let's take a look at what I got this time. Alex rubbed his hands together, feeling a little excited inside. Meanwhile, as Alex is focusing on the item drops, outside the trial tower, the people have entered a stunner state. On their faces, you can see multiple expressions such as shock, happiness, anger, envy, etc. At the same time, there are also those who just looked at the trial tower nonchalantly. Anyway, all of these people who have different reactions are looking in the same direction. And that is at the trial tower. All of their eyes were focused at the top of the trial tower. That's because a translucent screen that's just like the world system has suddenly appeared along with the sound of a gentle capella and the pleasant ring of bells. On the translucent screen, words are written which is also the same thing that everyone is looking at. Hey, is the thing written above the trial tower for real? That, to be honest, I don't know either. Yet, even me, as a Tier 4 player, can't really believe it. After all, the trial to advance to Tier 1 is really hard. Back then, I was only able to clear the first floor before giving up. Because of that, my stats were only doubled. After they said that, they all looked at the top of the trial tower again. Challenger 0 successfully completed the 10 floors of the trial tower and have now advanced to Tier 1. That's right, the thing that everyone's been looking at is the announcement of Alex's advancement to Tier 1. At the roof of the restaurant where Alex ate before, a cold-looking beauty stood alone. She is Elisa Flores. At this time, Elisa's eyes are fixed in one direction. That's right, she's looking at the trial tower just like everyone else. However, unlike them, there is something else that Elisa is thinking of. Zero, is it him? Thinking back to the man who she sat with for some time earlier at the restaurant, Elisa didn't expect that he was actually quite powerful. Even as a genius, Elisa has never seen anyone who can break through to the 10th floor of the trial tower. Even though she's called a genius, Elisa has actually never reached the last floor of every trial. When she first went through the advancement for Tier 1 at the trial tower, Elisa only reached the 6th floor. And that, only after being covered in her own blood. She went through an arduous trial full of hardships just to climb to the 6th floor. And now, looking at the notification on top of the trial tower, Elisa felt some mixed emotions. Counting the time, it's only been more or less 10 minutes since Zero left the restaurant. But in that short amount of time, Zero actually went to the trial tower and completed all 10 floors of the Tier 1 trial. Elisa thought about it for a moment before deciding to head towards the trial tower to see if Zero is still there. I'm curious, Zero, just how strong are you? Full of curiosity, Elisa floated in the air and flew in the direction of the trial tower. Kiasis Kingdom's royal castle. Almost every person inside the castle is looking over at the trial tower. Even the king is not an exception. Sitting on his throne, full of dignified air around him, the king looked at the trial tower with indifferent eyes. After a while, he opened his mouth and said, "It seems like another monster has appeared in my humble kingdom." Looking away, he continued, "I just don't know if it's really a member of the Kiasis kingdom." On the side, the Prime Minister said, "Your Majesty, should I send people to check that person called Zero?" To the Prime Minister's suggestion, the king remained silent for a while before agreeing. "Okay, send over the shadow to the trial tower and see if you can gather some information about this Zero." Hearing that, the Prime Minister bowed respectfully to the king. "As you wish, Your Majesty." After that, the Prime Minister left to relay the order of the king. Left in the throne room, the king turned his eyes back at the trial tower and muttered, "I just hope this doesn't bring unnecessary disaster." After saying that, the king also left the room while sighing deeply. At this time, Alex is still oblivious to the chaos that he lit in each player's heart at Nagel's. Because at this time, all of his attention is on the bunch of items in front of him. With a huge smile on his face, Alex said, "I really struck the jackpot." Chapter 82. Rich Rewards, Elisa's Invitation. "I really struck the jackpot this time," Alex exclaimed as he looked at the stuff that the Minotaur King dropped. A total of 4 items came out of the Minotaur King. A dozen gold coins, a blue crystal, an unknown monster egg, and a piece of golden paper. Alex doesn't know what most of those items are. However, Alex has a feeling that they are all incredible things just by instinct. "I'm so curious now, I should use Inspect on it immediately." Just as Alex was about to use Inspect, white light suddenly enveloped him, causing him to close his eyes. The next second Alex disappeared on the 10th floor of the trial tower. When Alex next opened his eyes, he was already at the entrance of the trial tower, in front of the stone monument. After realizing that, Alex muttered, "It seems like people can't stay inside the trial tower for long after finishing it, hey." Glancing at his inventory, Alex smiled and said, "Luckily, I already put all the item drops in my inventory. If I didn't, I'm probably gonna regret it." Heaving a sigh of relief, Alex turned his eyes at the stone monument where the records of each challenger are written. Curiously, Alex said, I wonder if my name is also in the list now." Alex looked for a while before finally seeing his name. When he did, Alex was pretty surprised that he wasn't able to react immediately. After a few seconds, Alex muttered, "Is this for real?" What made Alex so surprised is that his name was actually written at the very top of the stone monument. What's more is that it was actually written in glittering gold color. It was as if the trial tower itself was raising Alex at the top, praising him for his achievement. Whoa, this is really awesome. After realizing that it was real, a wide smile instantly appeared on Alex's. Without a doubt, Alex is really happy with this unexpected surprise. Originally, he was planning to use the trial tower to make himself known and slowly build up a reputation. But now, with his name being at the top of the stone monument, it is inevitable that people will learn about him. At this point in time, Alex is still oblivious to the fact that the trial tower has already announced to the world the things that he just did. After looking at his name on the stone monument for the sake of vanity, Alex finally turned around and left the trial tower. When he exited the tower, Alex was surprised to see that there's a lot of people there, just standing, looking at the entrance of the trial tower. Hey? Did another genius go to the tower or something? Alex silently muttered. As he left the tower, Alex immediately noticed that everyone's eyes suddenly focused on him. They probably thought it was the genius coming out. Then, Alex suddenly thought of his name being written at the very top of stone monument and silently thought. Well, technically it's not wrong. After all, I can also be considered quite the genius now too. Immediately, Alex smiled and stood with confidence. Walking out of the tower, Alex's face became indifferent while walking confidently. Unaware of everything, Alex slowly left the trial tower. Just as he left the tower's periphery, a notification window suddenly popped up in front of him. Congratulations, you completed the quest blah 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 perfectly. Additional reward will be given for your achievement. Rewards are being distributed. Your stats have been multiplied by 5. You received Ring of Life. After the notifications died down, Alex excitedly opened his character panel. Just like he expected, his stats have really gone through some earth-shaking changes. After his stats have been multiplied by 5, all of Alex's stats broke through thousands and settled at 2,500. This time, Alex wasn't able to hold back himself and started laughing loudly. Haha, I did it. Alex was ecstatic after seeing his stats that reached 2,500. By this time, his basic stats are already comparable to that of a Tier 3 or Tier 4 player. Imagine, he only advanced to Tier 1 today but his stats are actually so high. Just as Alex was feeling happy all over him, someone suddenly called him from among the crowd. 0. Alex turned his head in the direction of the voice and saw someone unexpected. Oh, Miss Elisa, is there anything I can help you with? Elisa walked towards Alex, still with the indifferent look on her face and said, 0, can I invite you to coffee? I want to discuss something with you. Alex tilted his head and confusedly asked, Hey? I wonder what that is, Miss Elisa. With a serious expression, Elisa answered, it's something about your advancement this time. If you don't mind, there's something that I'd like to ask you. When Elisa said that, a thoughtful look appeared on Alex's face. At the same time, a lot of people looked at Alex curiously while starting a discussion. Did I hear it right? Miss Elisa actually called that man 0. Yeah, I heard that too. Then, doesn't that mean there's a high chance that he was the one that went through the trial tower and completed it just now? Bro, he looks so young. Yeah, don't you think it's a good idea to build some friendship with him? After all, just from his achievement at the trial tower, he will surely rise to the top someday. Ha, do you think that's possible? Look, are you comparable to genius Miss Elisa? All kinds of talks with Alex being the center of the topic appeared in the surrounding crowd. Inevitably, Alex also heard their voice. At first, he was confused, but after listening to some of them talk, he finally got a preliminary understanding of what just happened. Immediately, Alex's face changed. After thinking about it, he looked at Elisa and said, I think it's a good idea. There's actually something that I want to talk about with you as well. So, if Miss Elisa doesn't mind, may I ask you to prepare a private place for us to chat? Chapter 83. Selling Strength Potion. Najals. Noble District. Alex looked around, looking at the place that Elisa brought him to with curiosity. Elisa brought him to this big manor that seems to cover a vast land. She said that this is a manor given to her by her father. Alex saw a lot of servants here. Whenever they saw Elisa, everyone bowed respectfully. At the same time, Alex also saw how much they liked Elisa just by seeing their eyes. From this, Alex has a feeling that Elisa is treating them well. Anyway, with Elisa on the lead, they came to a garden where a pavilion is built in the center. There, some snacks and coffee have already been prepared in advance. In this place, there's only the two of them and no one else, which is in line with what Alex wanted. 0, go and take a seat. Elisa said to Alex before sitting down. With Elisa's words, Alex also sat down. For a while, the two didn't speak and just looked at the beautiful garden around them. Alex was the one to break the silence and said, "This garden looks so nice and relaxing. It makes me feel like there's no more problem that will come to me. The one who designed this is probably a person with great artistic talent." Hearing Alex's words, on the cold face of Elisa, a small smile slowly bloomed like a flower in the winter season. She said, "I was the one who built and designed this whole garden. It's because I like flowers and nature. So, thank you for your praise, 0. When Alex heard that, he couldn't help but look at Elisa with a bit of surprise. "Wow, really? You're the one who made this?" Elisa nodded. "Whoa, you're really amazing, aren't you?" After that, the two continued chatting about some random topics for a while before Elisa's mood turned serious. She said, 0, let's talk about the reason I wanted to talk to you." Hearing that, Alex also became serious. Nodding his head, he replied, "Okay, let's talk about it. I'm really curious as to why someone like you suddenly invited me to talk. Please speak." Looking straight into Alex's eyes, Elisa started to speak. 0, you might already know, but the trial tower has shown everyone your achievements inside the tower. I am also among those who saw it. The fact that you were able to reach the last floor of a trial is really an achievement no one can take lightly, no matter what tier they are. As a member of the Flores family, a ducal house, I personally know some information about the last floor of the tower." When Alex heard that, an interested look appeared on his face. What kind of information do you know about it, Miss Elisa?" Alex questioned. "From what I know, in the trial of Tier 1, a monster that seems to counter you will appear as your enemy. For example, if a mage, whose stats are more on intelligence, challenged the trial tower, a monster that can negate him will appear. Then, as you proceed to the upper floors, the number of those monsters will increase by 1. That is until the 10th floor, which is the last floor." Listening to Elisa's words, Alex looked thoughtful. A monster that counters me." Alex glanced at his stats and said, "My stats are so balanced, the trial tower probably sent the Minotaur because there's no other monster to choose from." Thinking of that, Alex felt a little funny for a moment. Unaware of Alex's thoughts, Elisa continued talking. "The last floor is unlike the other previous floors. That floor, it can be called the boss room in the trial tower. There, you will meet a boss-class monster, and that monster is also a 1-star monster." When Alex heard that, he was surprised for a moment. Thinking of it, he didn't use inspect on that last Minotaur because he wanted to end the fight immediately. Anyway, Alex didn't really feel any difference when fighting it and fighting the level 25 Minotaurs at the first few floors. So, casually, he said, "Oh, that was a 1-star monster, hey." Seeing Alex's reaction, Elisa stared at him for a moment before saying, "Don't tell me, you didn't realize that you were fighting a stronger monster than the previous floors, did you?" "Since there's no need for him to hide it," Alex said. "Yeah, they were all weak, so I can't really feel the difference." Hearing those words come out of Alex's mouth, Elisa can't help but froze. After a few seconds, her expression became more solemn. Then she said, 0, the reason why I invited you here was to ask how you managed to clear all the floors in the Tier 1 trial. However, after hearing your words, I realized that it's unnecessary because you only used your power without the help of any item." After saying that, Elisa sighed and seemed disappointed. At this time, Alex suddenly smiled and said, "Miss Elisa, are you interested in something that can make you stronger?" Without waiting for her to reply, Alex waved his hand and a glass vial containing unknown orange liquid appeared on the table. It immediately attracted Elisa's eyes and she curiously asked, 0, what is this thing? Seeing Elisa being so interested in the potion, Alex's smile widened. "This is something that I got after defeating the monster in the trial tower. It's called Strength Potion. After consuming it, your strength stat will permanently increase by 10 points. Elisa's pupil dilated after hearing Alex's introduction. She stood up from her seat and looked at Alex with a shocked look and said, "What? Are you telling the truth, 0? Alex nodded, "Yeah, why would I lie? Anyway, if you're doubtful, you can ask someone who has an appraisal skill to check it out. After saying that, Alex stopped talking and just looked at Elisa. Just like Alex thought, Elisa is indeed doubtful of his words. That is because an item that can permanently increase your stat is something that she only heard of before. But now, an acquaintance that she met for the first time today is telling her that he has such an item. It's really unbelievable. Chapter 84. Leo Carpo. Elisa looked at the glass villa on the table for a few seconds before looking at Alex, saying, I'm going to call someone to appraise this potion, I hope you don't mind. Alex shook his head, it's all right, I don't mind. Thank you, said Elisa. Next, Elisa called a maid that was on standby just outside the garden and instructed her to call someone. A few minutes after the maid left, an elegant young man wearing glasses entered. The moment he came inside the garden, his eyes immediately focused on Elisa sitting in the pavilion with Alex. With a gentle smile, he said, Oh Elisa, I have come to visit you again and express my feelings for you. His voice attracted Elisa and Alex's attention and they turned to look at him. When Elisa saw him, she unexpectedly smiled. Leo, you're here. Leo walked into the pavilion and noticed Alex. A surprised look appeared on his face and said, Oh, what a surprise that you have a visitor, Elisa. Then he smiled at Alex and greeted, Hello, I'm Leo Carpo of the Carpo family. He politely extended his hand to Alex, initiating a handshake. Alex nodded at him and responded, I am Zero, nice meeting you. When Alex mentioned his name, Leo froze for a moment. Then hesitantly, he asked, Zero, you mean the one that just cleared the Tier 1 trial in the trial tower? Before Alex even says anything, Elisa already answered for him. Yes, he's that one. I invited him here to ask him his secrets. Elisa said with a smile. It seems like his words piqued Leo's interest and he said, Oh, I also want to learn about it. You guys don't mind if I listen, right? Elisa smiled and said, Unfortunately, Zero didn't have any secret weapon or anything. It seems like he cleared the trial tower all thanks to his high stats. Really? Leo was once again surprised because of Elisa's words. To have enough stats to clear the trial tower. I wonder how high your stats have to be to do such a thing. Alex just smiled and didn't answer that question. Realizing that he seemed to have said something unnecessary, Leo looked at Alex apologetically and said, I'm sorry, don't mind me, I was just talking to myself. Alex waved his hand lightly and said, It's all right, it's nothing big. Leo thanked Alex for being considerate. What are you still doing, standing there? Come and sit down already. Elisa said to Leo. With Elisa's words, Leo comfortably sat down on the chair beside her. After sitting down, Leo turned his eyes to Elisa and asked, So, what is the reason that you called me here? Don't tell me, it's something related to Zero. When he said that, he glanced at Alex for a moment before looking back at Elisa with questioning eyes. Leo was the one Elisa asked the maid to call. The Flores and Carpo family have a great relationship with each other. Because of that, Elisa and Leo became friends ever since they were younger. The reason why Elisa asked Leo is because obviously, he has an appraisal skill and also, she trusts Leo very much. Elisa nodded, You guessed it right, it's actually something related to Zero. Saying that, Elisa picked up the potion with Alex's permission and handed it to Leo. I want to ask you to use appraisal on this, Leo. This is something that Alex showed me and, the effects that he mentioned makes me doubt its authenticity. When Elisa said that, she took a glance at Alex to see his reaction. After seeing that he didn't get mad because of her words, she quietly heaved a sigh in relief. Leo received the glass vial from Elisa and curiously looked at it. A potion, hey. Well, let's see what this is with my appraisal. After saying that, without hesitation, Leo used appraisal on the potion. Strength potion. Description, permanently increase your strength attribute by 10 points after consumption. When Leo saw the description on his appraisal, he was stunned. His reaction was seen by both Alex and Elisa. Impatiently, Elisa asked, Leo, what is it? Tell me. Elisa's voice seems to have woken Leo from his dazed and he slowly raised his head to look at Elisa, saying, This. Elisa, this is a precious item. Without caring for Elisa, he turned his head to Alex and said, Zero, this item is yours, right? Alex calmly nodded, Yes, why, is there something you want to ask? Zero, I won't beat around the bushes. I want this item, just name a price and I will buy it. Leo suddenly with eyes full of seriousness. When Elisa heard Leo's words, she was dumbfounded. With a frown on her face, she said, "Hey Leo, what the hell are you doing?" Noticing that Elisa got upset because of his words, Leo paused and said, "I'm sorry, Elisa. I got too excited for a moment. It's just that this potion is really too precious." After saying that, Leo honestly told Elisa the description of the strength potion on his appraisal. When she heard that, Elisa realized that Alex didn't lie to her. So, she faced Alex and said, "Zero, I'm sorry I doubted your words earlier. It's just a bit unbelievable for me that such an item was actually in front of me." Elisa expressed her sincere apology to Alex and even bowed her head a little. For a noble, especially one of the 4 great families, doing such a thing is already a big deal. Seeing that, Alex waved his hand dismissively and understandingly said, "It's all right, I get why you find it unbelievable. Anyway, now that you've confirmed that it's real, let's talk about the thing that I wanted to talk about with you." When Alex said that, a big smile slowly crept up his lips. Elisa's expression once again became serious. She nodded and said, "Okay, tell me, Zero. What is it that you want?" Chapter 85. Hope. Tell me, Zero. What is it that you want? On the side, Leo seems to also want to say something but he was acting hesitant. But after a few inner struggles, in the end, he still looked at Alex and said, "Zero, if you're planning to sell this potion, please do consider selling it to me." Elisa glanced at Leo but didn't say anything. She knows it, such an item like strength potion is really rare and hard to find. Now, seeing one in front of them, no one will let it just pass by. So Elisa silently acquiesces to Leo's action. Alex raised his fist to signal them to be quiet and the two obediently stopped talking. Satisfied, Alex nodded and said, "You two don't have to fight over this potion. Because I have more of that inside my inventory." With a thought, a few more glass vials containing strength potion appeared on the table. What? This turn of events surprised both Elisa and Leo greatly. Such an amazing item, and there's a lot of them. Shocked, Elisa asked, "For you to have this much of this item, Zero, just where did you get all these?" Alex smiled and said, "Didn't I already tell you? All of this was dropped by the monster I killed inside the trial tower." Elisa doesn't know whether to believe Alex's words. It's because such a thing sounds so impossible. On the other, Leo immediately smiled happily after seeing that there's a lot of strength potion. This is great. Now we don't have to compete for this potion anymore. Leo felt genuinely happy. Elisa and him both have had great friendship since they were young. That's why his actions earlier caused some guilty feelings to sprout in him. Leo doesn't want to compete with Elisa. But because of how great the effects brought by the strength potion, Leo can help but fight over it. Additionally, there's actually a deeper reason as to why Leo wants this potion so bad. And that is because of his sick mother. An unknown disease is consuming his mother's strength. Slowly but surely, her health is declining as well as her strength and constitution stats. Now, Leo wants to take one for his mother to consume. He wants to know whether it will help or not. That is also one of the reasons why Elisa didn't get mad at him. She understood his situation, and if she's in the same situation, she will probably do the same thing. Alex looked at the two people in front of him, staring so intently at the potions that he brought out. With a smile, he said, "The reason why I wanted to talk with you is actually simple, Miss Elisa. I just want to sell this potion to you." "Really? Then, for how much are you planning to sell it for?" When she asked, Elisa couldn't help but be a little nervous for some reason. At this time, Alex didn't immediately quote a price. Instead, he said, "Since we got to know each other today, I'll sell one strength potion to the both of you for only 10 gold coins." The two were once again surprised and said, 10 gold coins? That is so cheap. This kind of item that can permanently increase your stats, it's not a problem even if you sell it for hundreds of golds. To their words, Alex didn't respond. Instead, he showed a smile and handed them one strength potion each. "Here, you guys can use it confidently to see its effects." The two didn't refuse. The only thing they want right now is to get the potion. They readily handed Alex 10 gold coins each before taking the potions from him. Looking at the potions in their hands, Elisa didn't hesitate and immediately drank the potion. Gulp. For a moment, Elisa felt liquid turn into warm energy that circulated throughout her body. And in that short period of time, Elisa felt her strength gradually improve. Hurriedly, she opened her attributes panel and an ecstatic look appeared on her face. It really increased my strength by 10 points. She turned to look at Alex and can't help but consider him as her lucky encounter. On the other hand, Leo didn't consume the potion but carefully put it on his inventory. He plans to bring it to her mother later. Alex observed them for a bit before smiling and said, "Now that you two have successfully bought some strength potion, it's about time for me to leave." Alex stood up and planned to go out. But Elisa hurriedly stopped him. Wait. Alex raised an eyebrow and asked, Is there something else? That, if I want to buy another strength potion, where can I find you? Hearing that, a thoughtful look appeared on Alex's face. In his head, he thought, that's right, where can they contact me? Suddenly, Alex thought about dungeons and got a good idea. He looked at Elisa and said, "I will visit you again about 2 to 3 days later from now. Then I will tell you where you can find me whenever you want something." After saying that, he really stood up this time and started walking out of Elisa's garden. "Anyway, I really need to go now. See you two again next time." The two said goodbye to Alex and at the same time, Elisa asked a maid to lead Alex out of the manor. Now, only Elisa and Leo are left in the garden. The atmosphere was a bit wrong for a moment between the two of them because of what Leo did just earlier. In the end, Leo sighed and apologized. Elisa. I'm sorry about earlier. That item seems really useful to me so I can't help it." Elisa was silent for a while before shaking her head. "No, I understand it, don't worry." She paused and asked, "That strength potion, are you planning to give it to Auntie?" Leo nodded, "Yes, I hope this can counter her disease." Leo clenched his fist while feeling hopeful in his heart. Chapter 86. Handsome Wolf. Alex left Elisa's manor under the company of a maid. When he got outside, there was already a carriage waiting for him. It was also something that Elisa ordered, to bring Alex outside the noble district. Since Elisa's manor is quite deep inside the noble district, going back to the common district would be quite a hassle if Alex walked there. At least, that's what Elisa thought. Looking at the carriage in front of him, Alex sighed, "Miss Elisa is quite considerate, hey." Alex shrugged and stepped into the carriage. Once Alex settled down inside, the coachman started urging the horses to move. "Yeah. To good Doug. To good Doug. To good Doug." The carriage was pulled by the horses and started moving, heading out of the noble district. Inside the carriage, Alex closed his eyes and touched his connection with Fairy in his heart. Good, he's still at the trial tower. After confirming Fairy's location, Alex opened his eyes and told the coachman to head to the trial tower. "Hello, please drop me near the trial tower." "Understood, sir." The coachman acknowledged and continued driving steadily. Alex closed his eyes again and patiently waited inside the carriage. After a while, the carriage stopped and the coachman said, "Sir, we have arrived at the trial tower." Alex opened his eyes and stepped out of the carriage. Then he looked at the coachman with a smile and said, "Thank you for bringing me here. Please be careful on your way back." Feeling Alex's politeness, the coachman smiled back. "Yes, sir, thank you." The carriage turned around and slowly drove away. After the carriage left, Alex followed the connection with Fairy. Not long after, Alex finally found Fairy near the trial tower lying down on the ground, looking a little lazy. However, Alex also saw a lot of people gathering around Fairy for some reason. Seeing that, Alex raised an eyebrow. What's happening over there?" he curiously muttered. Alex walked closer and saw that people seemed to find Fairy handsome, that's why they approached him. And in their hands, they were holding a card that looked like a card. "Hey, take a photo of me close to him. 1, 2, 3, say cheese." "Me too, me too. I want to get a photo with him too because he looks so cool." Those people around Fairy vary in age. There are some who's already adults while there are also a few kids around with their parents. Alex looked at Fairy who's just lying there but somehow turned into an attraction and found it a little funny. With a smile on his face, Alex went near Fairy but out of nowhere, he was stopped by a small girl wearing dirty tattered clothes. "Hey, mister, don't skip in line," the little girl said. Alex turned his eyes to her and tilted his head, asking, "Why?" The girl showed her palm to him and said, "You have to pay first and line up if you want to go closer to the handsome wolf." Hearing that stupid-sounding name, Alex paused and took a second look at the girl. She looks to be around 9 to 11 years old. However, for her age, she looks a bit too small and skinny. Alex wasn't surprised that she's suffering from malnutrition. Because just from her clothes, he can already guess the life that this little girl has. While he was observing the girl, a few more kids approached, asking her, "Sister, sister, is there a problem here?" 3 kids in total approached the first kid, all of them wearing dirty and tattered clothes. The girl answered the kid's question and said, "No, I'm just asking the mister here to pay us. After I get it, we will go buy some food, okay?" The 3 kids nodded, "Okay, sister." Watching them, Alex can't help but think back to those days where he was alone, trying to look for something to feed himself. The little girl who seems to be the eldest of the 4 turned her eyes back to Alex and urged him again. "Mister, please pay already so that you can line up." Pointing at those people holding a glass card near Ferry, she said, "Look, if you pay, you can also take a photo with it as well if you have a photo card." Alex thought about it for a second before shaking his head. He said, "No, I won't pay you." After saying that, he continued walking towards Ferry. But he paused and said, "Wait for me here." Before continuing moving forward. Why won't you just pay?" complained the girl, but Alex ignored her. At this time, the people gathering near Ferry also noticed Alex and frowned. "Hey, you have to." They were about to interrupted by Alex. Looking at Ferry, Alex called, "Ferry, come here." Raising his head, Ferry looked at Alex and his eyes immediately brightened. He hurriedly stood up, which caused a little panic among the people around, and rushed to Alex. Woof! Ferry's next action surprised the people around. He stopped in front of Alex and lowered his head. Then Alex raised his hand and started rubbing Ferry's fur gently. Like a dog, Ferry wagged his tail left and right, showing the excitement he was feeling. One of the onlookers can't help but say, "What? He can actually act cute like that?" It's because the difference was so big. Earlier, Ferry was acting so cold, indifferent to their presence and treated them like air. But now, when an unknown man came, it immediately started acting coy, rubbing close to him. Not far away, the girl along with her smaller siblings watched the interaction between Alex and the handsome wolf. One of the smaller kids said, "Sister, sister, look, handsome wolf and playing with that brother." However, the girl didn't respond, so he turned to look at her sister. "Sister." At this time, the girl's face had already turned pale. In a small shaky voice, she muttered, Is he the master of that wolf?" Chapter 87. Escape from Poverty. After playing around with Ferry for a minute, Alex walked away under the gaze of those people who came for Ferry. While walking, he passed by the girl and her siblings and said, "Follow me, we have something to talk about." Then without looking back, he continued moving forward. Behind him, when the girl heard his words, she bit her lips with an aggrieved look. Her eyes look a little sad and seems to have fallen into despair. She looked at her siblings who's asking her if there's something wrong and forced out a smile. Then she said, "You guys, go back home first. I had something to talk about with that brother, maybe he'll give us food." When food was mentioned, the eyes of those small kids lit up and a bright smile appeared on their faces that's covered in dirt. "Really? Yeah, hey. Then we will be waiting for you, sister." The 3 waved their hands at the girl and left, heading towards a dark alley. The girl watched them until they disappeared from her side before turning around and following Alex. So, Alex, Ferry, and the girl walked around the streets without saying anything. After walking for a while, Alex finally stopped in front of a bakery. Ding-ling! Alex opened the door and entered the shop. The smell of bread immediately assaulted his nostril, making Alex sniff a few times. The bread here smells good," Alex said. At this time, the person behind the counter greeted Alex with a smile. "Welcome to Julie's Bakery." Alex nodded before looking at the bread displayed all over the shop. Then, Alex started pointing at one bread after another saying, "I want this, this, that, and this." He looked at the owner and said, "Please pack 4 of each bread that I chose." "Ah. I will prepare it immediately, sir." The owner walked out behind the counter and started packing Alex's orders in a paper bag. After a while, she finished and handed it to Alex. "This is your order, Sir. It's a total of 60 bronze coins. Alex nodded in understanding and gave her a silver coin. Here, you can keep the change. Then without caring about the reaction of the bakery owner, he turned around and left with a paper bag full of bread on hand. The owner smiled brightly and thanked him loudly. Thank you, sir. Please come again. After that, Alex's group of 3 continued walking. Finally, Alex found a park and sat down on an empty bench. He turned his eyes at the girl who's been silent the whole time and said, You, come here and sit down. Hearing that, the girl stared at Alex for a while, trying to discern his intention through his eyes. Seeing that she still didn't move, Alex raised an eyebrow and said, Why are you still standing there? I told you to come here and sit down. Worry is visible on the girl's face, but still, hesitantly, she sat down beside Alex. That is because she's afraid that Alex might get angry at her and hurt her. However, unlike what she feared, Alex actually acted with goodwill. Passing her the paper bag full of bread, Alex said, Take this, eat this with your siblings when you get back home later. The girl was stunned by this. Looking at the bag of food hanging in front of her, she turned her eyes to Alex and unsurely said, Is this for real? Are you really giving these to us? Alex nodded without hesitation. Yeah, that's why I bought it. You and your siblings should eat more. Suddenly, the girl's eyes became misty. She looked at Alex with upturned eyes and said, Sob, thank you, Sob. Alex looked back at her and smiled. He patted her head and said, It's all right. I understand how hard it is to live life like yours. After all, I was once living that kind of life as well not too long ago. Alex said with a melancholic mood. After crying for a while, the little girl wiped her tears and stood up from the bench. Then she stood in front of Alex and bowed down to him, saying, I don't know who you are but, thank you so much, brother. Alex smiled and nodded. Well, since that's the case, let me introduce myself. My name is Zero, I just arrived here at Najils today. In response, the girl hurriedly introduced herself, My name is Angelica. I have 3 smaller siblings that you already saw earlier. After the short introduction, Alex decided to talk to Angelica. Say, Angelica, was it your idea to turn Fairy into an attraction? Alex asked while pointing at Fairy. Hearing his question, guilt appeared on Angelica's face. Bowing her head, she apologetically said, I'm really sorry, Brother Zero. I just want to find a way to earn money to feed myself, so I used your wolf without permission. It won't happen again, I promise, so please don't get mad at me. To that, Alex waved his hands and said, No, don't worry, I'm not mad or anything. When she heard that, Angelica slowly raised her head and took a peek at Alex's face. After seeing that he was indeed not angry, she immediately sighed in relief. At this time, Angelica remembered that Alex said before that he wanted to talk to her, that's why she followed him. Curiously, she tilted her head and asked, Brother Zero, what is the thing you wanted to talk about? Oh, that? Well, I just have a question for you. What is it? Crossing his arms together, Alex asked, Angelica, do you want to live a better life? To be able to provide for your siblings better food and a place to stay. Then full of seriousness, Alex added, do you want to escape from your life that's full of poverty? Alex threw one question after another which made Angelica fall into a daze for a few seconds. Then when she recovered, she seemed to think of something and a resolute look appeared on her face as she said, Yes. I want all of that, Brother Zero. Chapter 88. Bonus Angelica's Reluctance. Seeing the resolution that Angelica had, Alex smiled. Good, I like that. You have to remember that determination. Because if you want to fight for your life, you need to have strong determination to go against a lot of things in life. Some things that most people might consider as crazy. When Alex said that, he looked nostalgic. Angelica quietly listened to Alex while also writing down his words in her heart. Alex sighed and turned his eyes back to Angelica and said, Angelica, as someone who also lived a life much similar to yours, I want to help you. Now, I want to know whether you are willing to go with me to another town or not. Hearing that, Angelica paused. Then hesitation appeared on her face which gradually turned into disappointment. Alex noticed the change in her mood and asked, What's the matter? If you have something to say, just tell me directly. Angelica stayed quiet for a while before saying, I can't leave here. I can't leave my siblings here and go somewhere else. That's why, I'm sorry, I can't follow you, Brother Zero. Angelica's face is covered in sadness while saying those words to Alex. On the other hand, Alex was stunned for a moment before he smiled. Gently, he patted Angelica on her head and said, "What are you saying? Of course you will go with your siblings. I won't let you be separated from your siblings. After all, they are the reason why you are working so hard, right?" Angelica lifted her face and saw Alex looking at her with a warm smile. Suddenly, her vision becomes blurry and warm liquid starts dripping down on her face. Seeing that, Alex frowned. "Hey, why are you crying? Are you hurt anywhere?" While asking, Alex gently wipes her tears with his hands. Shaking her head, Angelica said, "No, I'm just so happy and thankful for you, Brother Zero." Hurriedly wiping her tearful face, she looked at Alex and smiled, saying, "To be honest, I don't know why you are helping a stranger like me, Brother Zero. However, somehow, I can feel it. I can feel that what you are showing me is the genuine kindness you possess in your heart. That's why, Brother Zero, thank you so much." Her face that's still wet from her tears along with the beautiful smile on her face looks unusually bright in Alex's eyes. He can't help but get infected with her smile and his lips gradually formed a smile as well. For a while, the two just smiled at each other without saying another word. After that, they chatted for a bit before Alex told Angelica to go back. "Well, it's already late. You've been here for quite some time. Your siblings are probably waiting for you back at your house. So, hurry up and bring them that bread. I hope they will like it." With a smile, Angelica nodded, "Don't worry, brother. I'm sure my brothers and sister will like it. Anyway, I'll go now, Brother Zero." Angelica waved her hands to Alex before trotting away. Alex watched her leave with a smile on his face. After she disappeared from his sight, Alex shook his head and said, "Well then, it's about time I start inspecting my spoils from the tower." Alex opened his inventory while caressing Fairy's fur. Soon, various items inside his inventory appeared in his eyes. Inventory: pistol, dragon egg, clothes, strength potion x42, constitution potion x44, blazing hammer x21, minotaur's horn knife x17, minotaur's king x1, minotaur's horn x12, minotaur's leather x36, minotaur's blood x20, golden order x1, monster egg x1, orichalcum x1, resurrection ring. Gold, 93, silver, 45, bronze, 66. Looking at the items inside his inventory, a smile crept up Alex's lips. "I only went to the tower once but the result was quite rich. I freaking love this tower. The harvest this time is indeed a lot. And this is all thanks to Alex's talent fortune's embodiment. If Alex didn't have this talent, having even 1/4 of what he has now can already be considered lucky." After a little inspection at his items, Alex said, "The equipment has a lot of duplicates, maybe I should sell it somewhere. There's also quite a lot of crafting materials. I wonder if I can hire a crafter to make use of these. Well, it doesn't matter what I do with it. Strength and constitution potions are the most valuable item from those ordinary minotaurs anyway." Then Alex turned his eyes on the last few items on his inventory and his smile can't help but widened. A boss is really a boss, hey. Even the items it dropped are far from the items those normal minotaurs dropped. Alex didn't even have to inspect those few items to know that they are good items. But anyway, Alex still used inspect to learn more about the said item. Resurrection ring. Rating: legendary. Effect: after dying, resurrect in any designated area. The wearer has 3 chances to resurrect. Details: an item that can only be dropped inside the trial tower after killing the final floor boss monster. The probability of dropping is 0.00001%. The first item that Alex inspected was the resurrection ring. And immediately, he was greatly surprised after seeing its rating. "Wow, it's just the first item and it's already legendary, hey," he said. Then he read its details and wasn't really surprised. "Well, this item can at least give 3 chances for resurrection. But I don't think I will really need it, after all, as long as the dungeon core doesn't break, I can revive infinitely," Alex said while touching his chest. The dungeon core is always with him wherever he goes. Because of that, Alex doesn't have to always stay inside the dungeon to guard the dungeon core. This has both its advantages and disadvantages. Alex wore the resurrection ring on his finger before taking out another item from his inventory. Let's see this monster egg. Monster egg. Rating, Epic. Effect, after hatching, get a random monster as a pet. The pet will automatically be bound to the first one it sees after it hatches. Details, an item similar to a mystery box. Chapter 89. Mythical rating. Monster egg. Rating, Epic. Effect, after hatching, get a random monster as a pet. The pet will automatically be bound to the first one it sees after it hatches. Details, an item similar to a mystery box. Looking at the result of Inspect, Alex doesn't really find this monster egg appealing. Since I already have a dragon egg, I don't think I need this thing. Maybe I'll just sell it or give it to someone else. Alex only took a glance at the monster egg before throwing it back to his inventory. Next, Alex took out the only material type item that the Minotaur King dropped. A shiny blue crystal suddenly appeared on Alex's hands, emitting some sort of energy that seemed to harmonize with the energy in the surrounding area. Orichalcum, hey. I heard about this item in some novels and games that I found in the garbage in the past. Let's see what it is. Inspect. Orichalcum. Rating, Epic. Details, a mineral that has great mana conductivity and light weight. A great material for making items or weapons that use mana. A material with an epic rating, I guess I can use this to make a weapon for myself. I should look for a trustworthy blacksmith to make a weapon for me. After saying that, Alex also put the orichalcum back into his inventory. He's not really knowledgeable about minerals and can't really assess the orichalcum even with its details already presented to him. So Alex didn't feel much about it. After putting back the orichalcum, an excited smile suddenly appeared on my face. Next, this one will be the highlights of today's harvests. Waving his hand, a piece of paper that is glowing with soft golden light appeared on Alex's hands. Staring at it with excited eyes, Alex's heart can't help but tremble. This piece of paper was something that Alex knew thanks to the stored information within the dungeon core in the past. Without hesitation, Alex used Inspect. Golden Order. Rating, Mythical. Effect, plus 1000 to all attributes, possess the authority of fire, heat resistance. Details, a part of the Book of Order that the Creator God possesses. Golden Order. I can't believe I got something like this the first time I entered the tower. Alex said, feeling incredulous in his heart. Just by having this piece of paper, Alex will have a total of 5000 attribute points added to his stats. Additionally, the authority of fire is also an incredibly powerful power. With it, anything related to fire is something that Alex can control and also strengthen. At the same time, with the heat resistance, he also no longer has to worry about being affected by fire. However, Alex knows that this isn't all the effects that the Golden Order has. After all, even though all of them are good, they aren't enough to make the Golden Order an item with a mythical rating. For now, Alex doesn't know what it is, so he can do nothing about it yet. Anyway, in an ecstatic mood, Alex placed the Golden Order back in his inventory. Dusting his hands, Alex stood up and said, "Now then, I've been here in Alter Dimension for a whole week now, I guess it's time for me to go back to see how things are going on Earth." Saying that, Alex looked at Fairy and asked, "Fairy, I'm about to go for now, what would I like to do while I'm gone?" Fairy turned his head at him and barked, "Woof." Through their connection, Alex understood what Fairy wants. "Oh, so you want to go out and hunt, hey? That's not bad, maybe you can also level up or even go through an advancement while I'm gone if you're lucky." Saying that, Alex smiled and said, "Okay, then let's leave the city for now and I'll leave you to hunt on your own." Hearing Fairy barked in affirmation. Woof. Just like that, the pair of human and wolf left the city through the gate that they entered before. Once outside, the two walked for a while before Alex finally let Fairy go free. Alex patted Fairy and said, "Here, we're now far enough from the city. You can go now, hunt to your heart's content while I'm away." With Alex's permission, Fairy rubbed his head on him before leaving. Watching Fairy leave, Alex has a smile on his face, muttering, "Fairy is also already at level 24 now, maybe when I come back later he'll already be at 1 star. Chuckling, Alex turned around and looked for a spot that was relatively quiet before traveling to Earth. Alex disappeared from Alter Dimension, and when he appeared, he was already back in his house on Earth. Ugh, that was a really tiring journey. Alex stretched out his muscles and sat down on the sofa. Puff. However, when he did, dust that had gathered on the sofa scattered around. Cough cough, cough, why the hell is it so dusty in here? While coughing, Alex waved his hands, trying to get rid of the dust around him. Alex stood up from his seat and immediately opened the door and the window to let some air in. Looking back at his dusty house, Alex scratched his head and said, "I've only been away for a week and it's already so dirty. I guess the first thing on my agenda is to clean up my house, hey." Shaking his head, Alex sighed and went back in to start a general cleaning. While Alex is busy cleaning up his house, back in the alter dimension, Fairy is working hard hunting. Currently, Fairy is facing a giant mantis that is roughly around 1.5 meters. The mantis hands are like sharp blades that are threatening to slice apart anyone that dares to touch it. Fairy is very alert while fighting against the mantis. Suddenly, Fairy retreated a few steps back and faced up the sky. Without warning, he let out a loud howl. Awoo! This is just Fairy using his skill, Wolf Howl. Thanks to Wolf Howl, Fairy inflicted fear status on the fierce mantis, making it immobile for 5 seconds. Fairy didn't let this chance pass by. Roar! Fairy charged at the mantis and attacked it frantically. 5 seconds later, the mantis now lays on the ground, covered with blood and insect juice. Chapter 90. Dungeon Trespassers. As a leader class, Fairy possess stats that are a whole lot higher than normal class monsters. Because of that, killing monsters such as the blade mantis from earlier is nothing special to him. Anyway, after killing that blade mantis, Fairy glowed with a white soft light and the strength inside his body seems to have increased. This is a sign that he leveled up. Fairy immediately felt happy. He thought, great, I'm finally level 25. I just need a few more experiences and a catalyst to break through to 1 star. Unlike humans who need to go to the trial tower to go through a class advancement, monsters have a different way of advancing. For them, they have to look for a catalyst that is suitable for them to stimulate their bloodline and break through. Since Fairy is a wind attribute monster, he should look for materials with similar attributes that can stimulate his bloodline. And right now, that is just what Fairy plans to do. With a burst from his feet, Fairy started an exploration to look for a suitable breakthrough material. After hours of cleaning, Alex sat down on the sofa that's been dusted off just a while ago. Letting out a long breath, Alex muttered, "Highs, I'm finally done cleaning. It only took a week for my house to be covered in dust. Next time, I should hire someone to clean my house every day." Alex grabbed a glass of water on the table not far away while saying such things. To relax, Alex turned on the TV and started watching some variety shows. But at this time, a translucent screen suddenly appeared in front of him. It's the system. Hey? Why did the system window appear at this time? With a frown, Alex read the notification and his face immediately changed. Hint, trespasser have entered inside the dungeon, Kun's lair, ... Hint, do you want to turn on the dungeon monitor? Yes/no. There are people in the dungeon. Alex turned on the dungeon monitor and the screen in front of him changed. The outer part of Kun's lair near the entrance of the cave was projected on the screen. And there, Alex saw a group of people cautiously walking inside. All of them are wearing armor and holding their own weapons. Putting his hand on his chin, Alex looked thoughtfully at the group on the screen. They look like an adventurer party. I wonder for what reason they entered Kun's lair. With curiosity, Alex watched them while drinking an ice-cold soda. The group proceeds inside the dungeon while acting vigilant. After walking for a while, the group suddenly encountered a goblin. When Alex saw that, she raised an eyebrow and surprisedly said, "Oh, Kun's lair already has monsters, hey. So that's why they went inside it." Dungeon, a place full of monsters and treasures. For a dungeon, monsters are its defense mechanism. Because of that, dungeons attract monsters from the outside to enter using an energy that is very good for the monsters. After they enter, those monsters will then be imprisoned inside the dungeon for as long as the dungeon master wanted. Of course, not every dungeon is like this. Just look at Alex's first dungeon, the Lucky Dungeon. Until now, not even one monster has appeared inside it. That is because Alex has already set it to not do so. As a dungeon master, Alex has all the freedom of how he wishes his dungeon to be. And as the dungeon levels up, more and more things will be possible for Alex to do with the dungeon. Anyway, Alex observed as the group fought with the goblin and from time to time, he also commented. "No, you shouldn't just charge in like that, see now you got stabbed by the goblin." What is this healer doing? Why isn't she healing him yet? Aish, this group, they are really low-level noobs, aren't they? Alex shook his head while watching. From his observation, Alex can see that all of these people are only at around level 5 to 9. Watching them have a hard time against a goblin, it was really a new sight for Alex. After all, before Alex even started hunting, his stats at that time were already a bit higher than the normal at level 1. So, to him, goblins have never been an opponent you'll have a hard time with. Anyway, Alex also knows that he has an unfair advantage compared to others, so he didn't say anything else. After the group finally killed the goblin, its body burst into tiny particles and an item was left on the ground. Seeing that, Alex smiled. Good, it seems like the dungeon is working properly. Now, I'll just leave you guys on your own to your heart's content. Saying that, Alex closed the dungeon monitor and stopped paying attention. If other dungeon masters saw this, they would probably be speechless. Normal dungeon master usually observes anyone that enters their dungeon as much as possible. This is because, if the adventurers successfully reach the end of the dungeon where they are usually hiding, they will have to be prepared to fight. The reason for that is to protect their own dungeon core, meaning, their own life. As for Alex, since the dungeon core is in his chest, he doesn't have to bother being on guard against all trespassers. After closing the dungeon monitor, Alex stood up and headed to shower. Today is Sunday and Alex was planning to head out to relax himself. Because in the past week, a lot of things have happened. Including massacring a large group of bandits, fighting against monsters, going through the trial tower, etc. All of those exhausted Alex mentally. So today, he wants to at least breathe some fresh air and not do anything. After a couple of minutes, Alex stepped out of the shower, still a bit wet. At this time, he's already all prepared to go out. But right at that moment, his phone suddenly started ringing. Ring ring. Alex picked it up and looked at the caller ID. Rich lady. When he saw that, Alex raised an eyebrow and said, "Oh, it's Chris. I wonder what it is that she wants this time." Curiously, Alex answered the call. "Hello, Chris." Chapter 91. Surprised Chris. "Hello, Chris." On the other end of the call, when Chris heard Alex's voice, she paused before saying, "Alex, finally. Where have you been in the past week?" Scratching his head, Alex answered nonchalantly, "Of course, I've been in Alter Dimension. Where else do you think I could be?" Chris didn't answer that but said, "Did you know that Dad and the others have been looking for you? They even thought something happened to you in Alter Dimension since you haven't shown yourself after that night I invited you to our house." Hearing that, Alex raised an eyebrow. "Hey? For what reason?" But just as he asked, Alex remembered the thing that they talked about that night and realized the problem. "Oh, was it about the thing we talked about that night?" Alex asked. "Yes, what else could it be? Anyway, Dad has been looking for you. Go call him when you have the time." Alex nodded, "All right." After that, they chatted for a bit more before Alex said bye and was about to hang up the call. However, Chris hurriedly stopped him. Wait. Is there something else?" With a hesitant tone, Chris said, "Yes, actually, I have a favor to ask." Hearing that, Alex paused and raised his eyebrows. "Oh, a favor? Yes. Is it something related to Alter Dimension?" Alex asked. But unlike Alex expected, Chris said, "No, it's actually a personal request." Oh. This time, Alex was honestly surprised to hear that Chris had a personal request. Throughout the time that they know each other, Alex never heard of Chris asking for a favor beside that time with the missing students. So, full of curiosity, Alex asked, "A personal request? Well, let me hear it first, I'll help if I can do something." With Alex's words, Chris started explaining. Well, what I want to ask you is nothing hard to do." After a short pause, she quietly said, "Can you come with me to an amusement park?" Alex was dumbfounded after hearing Chris' request. Then she said, "What? You want me to accompany you to an amusement park?" "Ahoy!" Alex turned silent for a moment. Just as Chris was about to ask again, Alex finally spoke, "Well, it's nothing hard and I have nothing to do today anyway. Going to the amusement park might be a good idea. So, let's go, I'll accompany you to the amusement park." Immediately, Chris' cheerful voice sounded, "Really? That's great. Then go and prepare now, I will pick you up. Before even Alex responds, Chris already hangs up the call. Alex looked at his phone, speechless. Shaking his head, Alex sighed helplessly and sat down on the sofa. Patiently, Alex waited for Chris to arrive while watching TV. Less than 10 minutes later, Alex heard the sound of a car stopping outside his house. She arrived fast, hey. Alex stood up, picked up his phone and wallet, and left outside the house. In front of the house, Alex saw Chris outside, sitting inside a red sports car. When Chris saw Alex leaving the house, she smiled and waved at him. Alex, here. Alex approached the car after locking the house. Looking through the window, Alex said, Hey there, Chris. Hey, Alex. Get inside. Alex nodded and sat down inside the car. Today Chris is wearing a navy blue shirt and high-waisted jean shorts. Add to that the sunglasses and the sneakers, her outfit is pretty light and casual. It made her look more relaxed and active, which is another side that Alex has never seen before. After taking a glance at her outfit, Alex turned his eyes in front and asked. Where are we going now, Chris? Of course, we'll go to the amusement park immediately. Chris said, looking excited. Looking at her, Alex felt like he's looking at a kid. Alex thought that it looked funny and a smile slowly crept up his lips. Chris noticed that. She raised an eyebrow at him and said, Hey, why are you laughing at me? Chuckling, Alex shook his head, It's nothing. Anyway, let's go now since it's already afternoon. Chris nodded, Okay, let's go then. Chris started the car and left Alex's house. While they were on the road, the two chatted about a few things. Chris seems particularly curious about Alex's progress in the alter dimension and asked. Last time you said that you were going to head to the trial tower to break through, right? Yeah, what of it? Well, I'm just curious whether you've successfully stepped into Tier 1 or not. Chris said while glancing at him. Alex didn't reply immediately before saying, Yes, I'm already a Tier 1 now. Chris was surprised to hear that and she turned her head to Alex and said, Wow, you're really capable, Alex. I didn't expect that in such a short amount of time you will become a Tier 1. Alex waved his hand and said, Stop it, go look on the road while driving or else you might accidentally bump into someone. Hearing that, Chris immediately turned her eyes back on the road. Then after a while, she started talking again. She said, That's really surprising. Did you know that I'm only at Tier 2 right now? It's Alex's turn to be surprised this time. What? You're already at Tier 2? Seeing Alex so surprised, Chris rolled her eyes and said, Why are you acting surprised? It's been 2 years since I first entered the alter dimension, being a Tier 2 was something I'll naturally achieve with such an amount of time. Anyway, you're the one that's really surprising here. Already at Tier 1 just after a few weeks, you're like a monster. Highs, I really envy you. Did you know, it took me 3 months just to reach Tier 1 back then. Chris paused for a moment before asking, So, until what floor did you climb up in the trial tower? Like it was something normal, Alex nonchalantly replied, Well, I cleared the 10th floor. That 10th. What? Chapter 92. Roller coaster. Chris suddenly stepped on the brakes causing the car to come to a sudden stop. Fortunately, both of them are wearing their seatbelts. If not, their faces could have hit the windshield. After he recovered, Alex looked at Chris and angrily said, Chris, what are you doing? At this time, Chris still seems a bit out of it. A few seconds later, she turned her head to Alex with disbelief in her eyes. Then Chris took a deep breath and said, Why did you just say that you cleared the 10th level of the trial tower? Still with displeasure on his face, Alex said, Yeah, did you not hear me properly? Shaking his head, he fixed his sitting and said, Anyway, forget that. Please be careful with your driving. Hearing that, Chris looked at him with wide eyes and said, Forget it. How could you say such words after telling me something shocking? Alex shrugged, Well, that's just how it is. After saying that, Alex stopped talking and just sat relaxedly on his seat. Seeing Alex's attitude, Chris was speechless. After a while, she shook her head and stopped talking as well. She turned her eyes back at the road and started the car. Along the way, the two of them never talked again. 20 minutes later. Finally, after a long silent time inside the car, they arrived at their destination. Castle Paradise. Chris exclaimed with shining light on her eyes. Alex also turned his eyes at the huge amusement park not far away. To be honest, in his whole life, this is the first time Alex is going to an amusement park. He didn't have the freedom and money to go to such places before. Back then, Alex could only focus on trying to survive living in this harsh world. Doing his best just to be able to put food on his table. But now, after the unexpected events that happened in his life weeks ago, his life has greatly changed for the better. Alex can now go to these kinds of places and enjoy his life while relaxing. Chris parked the car and stepped out of the car. Wow, I'm really feeling excited about this amusement park trip now. Chris said. Alex followed outside the car and stood beside Chris. Seeing Chris' excitement, Alex looked at her and asked, "Are you really that happy to come here?" Alex is confused. For Chris, who came from a rich family, something like an amusement park shouldn't be something to be amazed with, right? They have the time and money to come here anytime they want. So Chris being excited with it, Alex felt a little puzzled. Chris snapped her head in his direction and said, "Of course, I'm happy. You probably don't know, but I haven't been to an amusement park before." Hey? Really? Alex looked surprised at this new information. "Yeah." Chris nodded, "As you know, my family is quite special, so there's some things that I can't do. When I was younger, whenever our car passed by this place, I can't help but yearn to someday come here." Chris smiled and said, "But now, I have finally gained some freedom with my family. Because of that, I decided to come here and fulfill my childhood wish." Alex fell silent after listening to Chris' words. Unexpectedly, just because she's rich doesn't mean that she can do anything. In contrast, she's actually much more restricted by her family because there's a lot of things that could happen to her outside. Especially things that involve the world of alter dimension. Anyway, the two of them headed towards the amusement park. At the entrance, they bought an entrance ticket for each of them. It cost 500 for each ticket. For the two of them, it's 1,000. Alex volunteered to pay for it and Chris didn't decline his offer. After the two entered, they saw a scene that was like a moving picture of joy. Wherever you look, you will see people with smiles on their faces. A lot of kids are running around with their families, obviously having a lot of fun. For a moment, Alex can't help but get infected by the mood around him. Unconsciously, his body and mind gradually relaxed. On the other hand, Chris, who's standing beside him, is already looking at the countless rides with bright eyes. "Whoa, I wanna ride that one." She grabbed Alex's arm and started shaking it, saying, "Alex, Alex, let's hurry up, I wanna ride on that roller coaster." Alex followed Chris' eyes and saw the roller coaster with a lot of people raising their hands while yelling their hearts out. Alex didn't deny her request and said, "All right, let's go check it out now then." With that said, the two didn't waste any more time and went to the roller coaster booth. When they got there, they found out that there's actually a long line. "Oh, the line is quite long here, do you want to try looking at other rides?" Alex asked. Chris hurriedly shook her head and said, "No need, let's just wait here patiently." Alex can only sigh and acquiesces to her decision. They waited for 30 minutes before their turn finally came. Unable to contain her excitement, Chris already took the lead and sat down at the very front seat of the ride. "Alex, come on, hurry up and sit over here," Chris said while patting the seat beside her. Alex nodded and sat down as well. At this time, the announcer staff of the roller coaster ride started speaking with a mic. "Everyone, please follow our safety procedures. Please pull down the railings of your seats and make sure that it's locked properly. Next, I request everyone to not." He said a few things until the time for the roller coaster to go has come. At the final moment, the staff said, "The roller coaster is now about to go, I hope all of you have a thrilling and exciting experience. Enjoy." As his voice died down, the roller coaster started moving upward, to a higher elevation. Once they reached the top, something seemed to click within the roller coaster and it started going down at a very fast speed. The people riding the roller coaster raised their hands and yelled loudly. Chapter 93. Relaxing trip, good food. Alex and Chris rode the roller coaster and enjoyed the thrilling experience. To be honest, the roller coaster experience was quite lukewarm for them. After all, one of them is a Tier 2 player while the other one is a Tier 1 with stats that are comparable to that of higher tiers. But still, the two of them just tried to enjoy it for the sake of experience. After the roller coaster stopped, they got down and walked away. After they left the roller coaster booth, Chris sighed disappointedly and said, "Highs, that was a bit boring. I thought I could enjoy the thrilling experience that people say the roller coaster has but, sigh." Alex patted her shoulders and said, "It can't be helped. After all, our body is already far from the common people's physique because of our stats. Anyway, just be happy that we experienced riding on that roller coaster." After a sigh, Chris nodded, "You're right, I can't look at these rides the same way normal people do." Chris seems to regain her spirit and tugged at Alex, "Hey, let's go try out a few more rides, then we can go and eat lunch." Alex shrugged, "Sure, I'll just follow you where you want to go." Hearing that, Chris smiled widely, "Hee, great. Then let's not waste more time, I want to ride that one next." Alex looked at the one that she's pointing at. "The octopus ride? Isn't that for kids?" said Alex. "Of course not." Chris said, "Come on, let's go." Alex sighed and followed obediently behind Chris. After that, the two of them went to a few more rides and tried to enjoy it as much as they could. Finally, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they decided to stop as Chris started to feel hungry. "Alex, since I'm the one who invited you today, I'll treat you to a meal. So, tell me, where do you want to eat?" Alex thought for a while before shaking his head. "I don't know. You decide where to eat. As long as I can eat my fill without a problem, I'll be happy." "Is that so?" Chris thought about a good place and after a while, her eyes lit up. "Oh, I know where we can eat as much as we want." "Really? Where?" Chris smiled and answered, "To a buffet." Alex paused for a moment. Then he nodded his head, "You're right. If we go to a buffet, we can really eat until we fill our stomachs to the brim." With that said, the two of them headed towards a buffet restaurant that is also inside the amusement park. It didn't take long for them to arrive. Since the location of the restaurant is just inside the amusement park, it only took them less than 10 minutes for them to get to the restaurant. The restaurant is called Kabayan, a well-known buffet in Pearl City. Alex and Chris entered the restaurant and saw that it was bustling with people inside. Obviously, those people are also those that are visiting the amusement park. "There's really a lot of people here, hey," Alex said. "What would you expect? Kabayan is owned by Mr. Nathan, the youngest billionaire of our city. Of course, it will be popular," Chris said in a matter-of-factly tone. To that, Alex nodded. Even as someone who lives at the bottom of society in the past, Alex knows this Mr. Nathan that Chris is talking about. A young billionaire who built his own wealth from nothing. Mr. Nathan is also known to be a kind-hearted philanthropist. He helped a lot of poor people in Pearl City and even throughout the whole nation. And back then, Alex was also one of the people who was helped by Mr. Nathan. Anyway, the two proceeded inside the restaurant and paid first before they went around to look for food to eat. It was only 400 each, which is quite cheap considering the kind of place this is. Kabayan Buffet is actually quite a big restaurant with a lot of different foods in each section. There's Asian foods, Western foods, meats, exotic foods, desserts, drinks, pastries, etc. There's a lot to choose from, and when you come here, you will surely never get tired of the foods because of the wide variety they offer. Alex and Chris grabbed a plate and put foods that they took a liking before heading towards an empty table. Without any nonsense, the two started eating the food on their plates. While eating, the two also chatted from time to time. As expected, the food is really good here. Even compared to our private chef, it only falls behind by 1 point. Chris commented while putting a glistening golden tempura inside her mouth. Alex nodded, "These foods are indeed great. Although I haven't tasted much good food in the past, I can say that the foods here can be included in my top 5. Hearing that, Chris' interest got piqued and said, "Oh, top 5, hey. Then Alex, if you don't mind me asking, can you tell what is at number 1 of your top foods?" Without hesitation, Alex said, "The top 1 on my list are of course the Dragon Diner that serves foods made with a real dragon as ingredients. The food there was really good. It was overflowing with energy and at the same time, it tasted like heaven." While saying that, Alex can't help but think back to that time. However, his casual words have caused Chris' eyes to widen once again. With shock, she asked in a low voice, "Alex, did you really say that there's a restaurant that's selling food with dragon as an ingredient?" Alex nodded, "Yeah, actually, I didn't believe it too back then. But after trying it for myself, I can't help but believe it." Alex paused, ate a piece of roasted pork and continued. The meat of a dragon is full of energy that can let you enhance your own senses and control over your body. Beside that, there's also a very small chance for you to get a skill from the dragon you ate. After saying that, Alex paused and with a smile, he looked at Chris and said, I'm lucky to be one of the very few people in the world to get a dragon's skill. Chapter 94. The Clown. And I'm lucky to be one of the very few people who were able to obtain a dragon's skill. After saying that, Alex continued eating while humming lightly. In contrast, Chris, who's sitting opposite him, already has her jaw hanging down from shock. What? Are you serious? This time, Chris wasn't able to suppress her voice anymore and loudly asked. In response, other customers in the restaurant all turned their eyes in their direction with curiosity. Chris didn't care about them and kept her eyes at Alex and said, Hey, you're not kidding. Alex shook his head. Of course, I'm not. The only reason I'm telling this to you is because I want to share it with someone else. Alex is also at the age where vanity is a big part of his personality. Since he has something good, of course he wants to tell it to others to impress. Of course, Alex still knows who to share things with and who to not. Chris is the only friend that Alex has and also the only person who's always willing to give him a helping hand back when he was suffering. The relationship between the two of them is pretty close, and that's why Alex can tell such things to Chris so comfortably. Chris is still immersed from the shock that Alex just gave her. She sat on her seat without moving, only staring at Alex with bulging eyes. Alex waved his hands in front of her face and said, Hello, Earth, to Chris, are you still there? Chris recovered from her daze and looked at Alex with strange eyes, saying, I was right. You're really a monster, Alex. Hearing that, Alex frowned. How can you say that to your friend? Highs, forget it, let's just continue eating. Alex stopped paying attention to Chris and just continued eating with relish. After staring at Alex for a few more seconds, Chris also followed and ate the food on her plate. At this time, while the two were eating, a loud explosion suddenly sounded at the amusement park. Boom! It was then followed by the screams of the people who were trying to run away from the place of the explosion. Kaya! Run! Help! Please help us! Move, don't block the way! Everyone around heard everything and hurriedly looked through the window to see what's happening. Alex and Chris looked at each other before standing up and following the crowd to look at the location of the explosion. The explosion happened around the carousel ride booth. At this time, the area around it is still covered in dust and smoke from the explosion, so they can't see anything clearly. But after a while, the dust settled down and they saw someone standing at the center. A clown. Alex muttered. A deep frown covered his face. At the place of the explosion, the figure of someone wearing a clown costume was standing with a usually big smile on his face. In such a place where all the people are running screaming, his figure that just stood there silently with a smile was particularly eye-catching. The clown watched as the people ran away and let out a weird laugh. Shishishi, there's plenty of food here for me. The clown said with a strange voice. Beside that, the clown suddenly turned his head in Alex's direction and continued, the reason for my plan to fail last time is also here. Those piercing red eyes of the clown looked directly at Alex even though there was a great distance between them. Alex also felt the eyes of the clown looking at him. His frown deepened and said, why does it feel like this clown is targeting me? Of course, he will target you. On the side, Chris' voice suddenly sounded. Alex looked at her with questioning eyes and said, Hey? What do you mean by that? While keeping her eyes at the clown, Chris said, have you already forgotten about the missing students that you saved before? Alex tilted his head. Oh? What about them? Well, when we interviewed them, they said that the one that kidnapped and brought them to Alter Dimension wasn't the monster that you killed but a clown. A clown? Alex suddenly felt enlightened after hearing Chris' words. Alex turned his gaze back at the clown not far away and saw that it was still looking at him. Pointing his finger at the clown, Alex said, you mean that the one they are talking about is that clown? Chris nodded, yes. Based on their description, that clown really fits with the image of the clown that kidnapped them. As Chris told that to Alex, the clown also started moving. The clown looked at the nearest man to him who was about a few meters away from him. Then with a weird smile on his face, the clown said, you shall become New York food. Suddenly, the clown raised his hand, and like a rubber, his hand suddenly stretched out, heading towards the man. When the man saw that, he was frightened and screamed, no. Help kook. But it didn't even take a second for the clown's hand to reach him. The clown grabbed his neck, forcing the man crying for help to stop screaming. Because of the pressure from the clown's hand pressing on his neck, the man's face turned red from lack of air. The man tried to struggle but to no avail. Looking at the man squirming around, trying to get out of his grasp, the clown smiled widely. Shishishi, go on, resist for as long as you can. In the end, it is useless. After all, you're nothing but livestock in front of me. After saying that, the clown retracted his hand while still holding the man's neck. The clown's mouth suddenly opened wide enough to swallow a person whole. When the man saw that, his eyes also came out and he tried to struggle stronger than before. The clown seems to find that fun in its wide mouth smile and said, "You can stop this futile struggle now, worm." After saying that, the clown suddenly threw the man inside his mouth. Chomp! Just like that, the man was eaten by the clown, swallowed whole. Chapter 95. Overwhelming stats. Watching a real alive human being swallowed whole just like that, Alex and Chris frowned. Compared to them, the other people around felt confused about what's happening. Hey, what the hell was that? I don't know, but looking at it gives me goosebumps. That, maybe it's just some special effects. Idiots, that looks like special effects to you? That's clearly a monster. After someone said that, the faces of everyone changed and soon fear enveloped them. There was a moment of silence before someone finally said, "That. I think I have to go home now." The person that said that broke away from the crowd and left through the back door of the restaurant. Seeing that, the other onlookers looked at each other before they also left one by one. "Let's go, I don't know what that is but, it's better if we leave this place first." "That's right, let's leave now." "Damn, where's my family? We have to leave now. Everyone, hurry up." Yeah, that monster might come to us if we dilly-dally." One by one, the customers left as well as the owner and the staff of the restaurant. Soon, it was only Alex and Chris who were left in the restaurant. From the beginning until all the people left, the two of them didn't say anything. Now that everyone is gone, Alex opened his mouth and said, "We can't just watch as that thing wreck everything." Taking a step forward, Alex was about to leave the restaurant and approach the clown monster. Seeing that, Chris hurriedly grabbed his shoulders. Hey, what do you think you're doing?" Alex turned around and looked at her with confused eyes. "What do you mean?" "Of course, I'm going to get rid of that monster." Chris looked at him as if she's looking at someone stupid. Shaking her head, Chris sighed and said, "No, Alex, you can't do that." Alex frowned, he removed Chris' hand on his and said, "Why? Should I just watch as that thing devours countless people?" "Alex, that's not what I mean." "Then what do you mean?" Alex stared at Chris, waiting for her to answer. Alex's attitude also caused a frown to appear on Chris' face. "Why can't you understand me, Alex? I'm just trying to stop you from getting yourself killed. Can't you see that the clown is a 4-star monster? Even me, a tier 2 player is no match to that, what more you're only at tier 1. Hearing that, Alex paused. He realized that Chris was actually stopping him from drying. For some reason, a warm current flows out from his heart because of Chris' words. After a while, Alex smiled at her and said, "You don't have to worry, Chris. I don't do things that I'm uncertain about." Alex turned his eyes back at Clown who's wrecking havoc down there at the park and used inspect. Devouring Clown. Class, Boss. Level, 203, 4-star. Strength, 3114 Constitution, 2696 Agility, 2497 Intelligence, 2205 Darkness, 2962 Devour, 3404 Evil, 3602. An, tier/*1 equals level 25, tier/*2 equals level 50, tier/*3 equals level 100, tier/*4 equals level 200. Alex looked at the clown's stats and saw that it was a lot more than his own stats. If you just look at it, the clown's stats overwhelms Alex's by a large margin. Alex put his hand on his chin and said, "Some of the clown's stats have already surpassed mine. Especially those special attributes that he has." Alex looked at the 3 attributes beside the 4 basic attributes. He wasn't surprised that the clown has 3 more additional special attributes. That is because, Alex knows that starting from Tier 2 or Star 2, when people or monsters break through, they will get an additional attribute. And for this clown, the attributes that he got were Darkness, Evil, and Devour. They say that the attributes that you'll get will be greatly affected by your skills and personality. Looking at the clown who's still continuously feeding himself with live humans, Alex wasn't even surprised to see that he got such attributes. Turning his eyes away from the clown, Alex opened his character panel. 0. Class, Dungeon Master. Level, 37. Talent, Fortune's Embodiment Luck Points, 953. Health, 8060/8060. Mana, 6260/6260. Strength, 2500. Constitution, 2500. Agility, 2500. Intelligence, 2500. Charisma, 2500. Free attributes, 3315. Skill points, 284. Skills, Sacrifice, U, Monster Manipulation, A, Lord's Sanctuary, A, Fireball, D, Earth Spike, D, Wind Blade, D, Freeze, D, Water Ball, D, Stealth, D, Concealment, A, Dragon Scale, S. Looking at the amount of free attribute points that he has, Alex thought, continuously hunting while I was traveling to Nagel's has really brought me a large amount of attributes. While Alex and Fairy were on their journey towards the capital, Alex didn't stop hunting monsters. Whether it was a low-level monster or a high-level monster, Alex didn't let it pass. That is because to Alex, even a low-level monster is a great resource that can bring him 5 free attribute points through sacrifice. Anyway, after a week of traveling, Alex has gathered more than 3,000 attribute points. Seeing that, Alex smiled. With this much free attribute points, I can raise all of my stats to 3,000. Saying that, Alex didn't waste more time and started distributing his free attribute points. Soon, Alex finished distributing everything to his stats. 0. Class, Dungeon Master. Level, 37. Talent, Fortune's Embodiment Luck Points, 953. Health, 35,230/35,230. Mana, 33,430/33,430. Strength, 3,163. Constitution, 3,163. Agility, 3,163. Intelligence, 3,163. Charisma, 3,163. Free attributes, 0. Skill points, 284. Skills, Sacrifice, U, Monster Manipulation, A, Lord's Sanctuary, A, Fireball, D, Earth Spike, D, Wind Blade, D, Freeze, D, Water Ball, D, Stealth, D, Concealment, A, Dragon Scale, S. Alex looked at his current stats and nodded in satisfaction. Great, these stats of mine should be enough to go against that devouring clown, right? Alex then turned his eyes back at the devouring clown. In his eyes, determination and fighting spirit are intertwined. Now, it's time to get rid of that evil clown. Chapter 96. Fighting the devouring clown. Under Chris' worried eyes, Alex strode out of the buffet restaurant and headed to where the clown is causing trouble. With his unimaginably high stats, the distance that would normally take an ordinary person a dozen minutes was traveled by Alex in an instant. When he arrived, Alex clearly saw the tragic situation of the people in the amusement park. Alex frowned. Such cruelty. At this time, the moment Alex appeared, the clown also sensed his presence and turned his eyes on him. Letting out a strange laugh, the clown said, "Shishishi, you have finally decided to step forward, hey. Perfect timing since I was just about to get bored of playing with all these worms. Saying that, he threw away the person that he caught and put all his attention to Alex. Hearing the clown's words, Alex frowned. From your words, it seems like you've been specifically waiting for me, hey. The clown's smile widened, staring at Alex, he said, of course. After all, the reason why I came back to this world this time was all because of you. Alex's expression changed and he said, oh, so you really know me, hey. The clown shrugged, well, you destroyed my fun and killed one of my subordinates, so, yeah, I know you. A playful smile appeared on the clown's face as he looked at Alex and said, you know, I've been planning to visit you since the time you ruined my plan. However, I was delayed by trying to break through to 4-star in the past week. But now that I have finally succeeded, you don't have any chance to escape, no one can save you. Just as his voice died down, the clown disappeared in his place and the next moment, he appeared in front of Alex and stretched out his arm, trying to grab Alex's neck. Alex immediately reacted and dodged before throwing a punch to counterattack. However, the clown managed to evade and jumped back, retreating away from Alex. Alex didn't give up, he casted fireball and threw it at the clown. Boom! The fireball landed directly at the clown and caused a loud explosion. Smoke covered the place where the clown is. But after a few seconds, the wind blew the smoke away and the figure of the clown standing there, unscathed, appeared. Around the clown, there's a black translucent globe that surrounds the clown from anything. Clearly, he managed to protect himself by using a barrier skill. Alex wasn't surprised by this. After all, even someone who is only a tier 1 knows the importance of having a protective skill, what more a 4-star monster that has already developed high intelligence. At this time, the clown started laughing loudly, "Wahahaha, I never expected that a mere tier 1 like you actually has power that can go head to head with a 4-star like me. Interesting. He licked his lips with his usually long tongue and a sharp light appeared on the clown's eyes. Alex just looked at him without saying anything. This is the first time Alex fought with someone with an almost equal or even higher stats than him. Because of that, Alex didn't dare to play around and treat the clown lightly. Seeing Alex not responding to him, the clown narrowed his eyes and said, "I will make you regret your encounter with me." The next second, the clown casted a skill. Heart corruption. A wisp of dark energy flew to Alex at an incredibly fast speed. It was something that can't be evaded and it entered inside Alex's body. When it did, it immediately targeted Alex's heart. The next moment, Alex's eyes changed. A heavy frown loomed on his face. What the hell? Inside his head, dark thoughts suddenly started appearing one by one. Kill everyone. Destroy the world. Cause chaos. Leave no one alive. Alex resisted the thoughts inside his head using only his willpower. However, this caused him to become sluggish and his response on the outside to slow down. The clown didn't let this chance pass by. Without hesitation, he rushed toward Alex and opened his mouth wide. His appearance looks weird because of his mouth that seems to fit even a car inside it. The inside of his mouth is filled with darkness with nothing to see inside, much similar to the abyss. When he got near Alex, he tried to close his mouth and bite Alex. But at this time, golden scales suddenly covered Alex's skin along with a golden aura that covered his whole body. This is the skill that Alex got from eating dragon meat, dragon scale. Since he knows that he can't dodge the clown's attack with his current condition, Alex decided to use this skill. Since Alex's constitution stat is already at 3000, the defense of this skill has also increased to 15,000. That's a terrifyingly hard defense to break. So, right now, for the next 10 minutes, Alex will have a theoretically unbreakable defense in the face of the clown. At this time, the clown's teeth touched the golden scales on Alex's skin and the sound of metal hitting metal echoed in the surrounding area. Ding! At the same time, Alex also forced himself to move back a few meters from the clown. The effects of the mental skill heart corruption have also weakened, giving Alex a bit more energy to maneuver. So as he retreated back, Alex also casted a few skills to attack the clown. Earth Spike. Wind Blade. This caused the clown to be on the defensive. But the clown is persistent. After getting rid of Alex's skills, he charges at him again and they exchange a few attacks. In this bout, the clown got the upper hand because Alex is still affected by heart corruption. At the same time, Alex vowed to get a mental resistance skill after he gets the chance later. At the buffet restaurant, Chris watched as Alex confronted the clown and fought it one-on-one. When she saw that Alex can indeed pull himself against a 4-star monster, Chris was surprised. What? How can this guy do this? Chapter 97. Seal and Lightning Judgment. What? How can this guy do this? Chris was greatly surprised to see Alex going head-to-head against the clown. A Tier 1 player is fighting on equal grounds with a 4-star monster. However, even though she can see that Alex is indeed capable of leapfrogging, she still can't help but get worried about him. After thinking a bit, she said, "I should call father and tell him about this." Chris knows that since a monster from Alter Dimension has invaded Earth, everyone in her family should have already been alerted. At this time, her uncle Glenn should already be on their way along with the whole CPS. However, maybe if she calls, maybe she can make them hurry up and get rid of the clown soon. Without delay, Chris picked up her phone and dialed her father. Ring ring. Catchick. Dad. Meanwhile, as Chris is talking to her father, the fight between Alex and the devouring clown starts to heat up. The two exchanged blows and Alex started to gain the upper hand thanks to his defensive skill Dragon Scale. Because of his unbreakable defense, the clown hasn't caused any damage to Alex. In comparison, the clown has only a few limited defensive skills and that caused a few bruises to appear on his body because of Alex's blows. At this time, the two stopped their movements. The clown eyes have long since turned vicious while looking at Alex. He said, "Boy, you are really making me very very pissed." In response, Alex smiled, "Oh, really? I guess I can take that as a compliment, hey." Then his eyes sharpened and said, "Well, you also pissed me off a lot. And that's why, I will end you right here, right now." Alex started another bout of offensive without hesitation. Seeing that, the clown gnashed his teeth, "Fine, I will no longer hold back." After saying that, the clown casted a skill. Clone. The next moment, an identical devouring clown appeared beside him and stared at Alex, who's rushing towards him. Alex was taken aback by this, but still, he didn't retreat. With Dragon Scale covering him, Alex is fearless. He threw a punch at the original devouring clown, while at the same time, he casted Fireball to attack the clone. Bang! Boom! Both of his attacks managed to land a hit. His punch didn't cause much damage to the clown, but to the clone, the fireball burnt one of its arms. The clown noticed that and clicked his tongue, "Tisk, since it only has a quarter of my original strength, it looks quite weak." After saying that, he looked at Alex and a complacent smile appeared on his face. Then he said, "It doesn't matter, the purpose of that clone is not to fight anyway." Just as the clown said that, the clone started charging towards Alex. Then when it managed to get close, it suddenly jumped towards him and grabbed his legs. Suddenly, the look on Alex's face changed. Not good. Next, the clone's body started glowing bright red. A second later, it exploded. Boom! 15,603. A rainbow-like cloud of smoke covered the whole area, hiding Alex and the clown from sight. Seeing the huge damage that the clone did to him, Alex's face didn't look good. "That almost broke my defense." On the other hand, the clown saw that Alex was still unscathed after that. He didn't seem surprised. He said, "You have a really tough defense, hey." Shaking his head, a playful smile suddenly appeared on his face and he said, "If one self-destructing clone can't do it, how about two or more then?" As he said that, he casted another clone. This time, two identical clones appeared beside the devouring clown instead of one. Seeing that, Alex cursed, "Damn it." But after a second, he immediately recovered. He looked at the devouring clown for a while before sighing. "Highs, I guess I should stop holding back as well." Alex suddenly opened his character panel and looked at the skill tree. In the past, Alex already saw a lot of strong skills in the skill tree. Unfortunately, at that time, he only possessed a few skill points. But now, after he leveled up multiple times, the skill points on his character panel have also started to pile up. So, Alex finally decided to put those points into good use. Alex browsed through the skill tree and looked for a skill that he can use right now. Burning Prairie, Tornado, Tree Prison, Earth Block, Laser Beam, Flight, Telekinesis. A lot of skills appeared before him, but Alex didn't choose hastily. Is there any good skill I can use here?" he muttered. Finally, Alex decided to take two skills. Seal and Lightning Judgment. These are the two skills that Alex decided to learn this time. Each of them costs 15 skill points each and both of them are A-rank skills. After successfully learning two new skills, Alex turned his attention back to the devouring clown. Although Alex's action might have taken a long time, in reality it only took him a second to do all that. Thanks to his high intelligence stat, Alex can freely do such things. Anyway, looking at the devouring clown this time, Alex also showed a playful smile. When the clown saw that, he suddenly laughed and said, "Haha, boy, you really have the guts to still laugh in your current situation, hey? Well, fret not, soon you won't be able to do that any longer." Without further delay, he ordered his two clones to rush towards Alex again. Seeing that, Alex didn't panic. Instead, he just stood there and didn't do anything. Thanks to that, the two clones managed to grab onto him immediately. The devouring clown widened his smile in joy. Haha, you're done for now. The two of you, explode. The two clones started glowing red just like the previous clone and seemed like they were about to burst again. However, Alex has finally decided to make a move this time. With a calm tone, one word just came out of his mouth. Seal. Chapter 98. Killing the devouring clown. Seal. As that word came out of Alex's mouth, the glowing red color of the two clones that were holding onto him. The clones noticed that and a confused look appeared on both of their faces. Not far away, the original devouring clown also has a confused expression at this time. Hey? What happened? Why haven't they exploded yet? While the three devouring clowns are looking puzzled, Alex turns his eyes at the two that were grabbing him. With a smile on his face, Alex threw a full force punch at the two of them. Because they only have a quarter of the original devouring clown's stats, they were not able to resist the damage of his punch. In the end, the two of them died and turned into a puff of colorful smoke. Next, Alex turned his gaze back at the devouring clown in the distance and with a smile, he said. Are you wondering why the self-destruct skill of your clones didn't work? The clown didn't answer but stared intently at Alex. Obviously, Alex hit the nail. Knowing that the clown is curious, Alex shook his head and disappointedly said, since you're not interested, hey. I was gonna tell you, but I guess I should not. The clown narrowed his eyes and seemed to be filled with anger. You dare treat me like a joke, hey. You'll regret it. Alex chuckled at the clown's words. Shaking his head, Alex said, make me regret it. I don't know if you still have the chance to do that after this. Saying that, Alex used his other new skill without hesitation. Lightning Judgment. Dark thunderclouds suddenly started gathering above Alex and the devouring clown. Soon, the previously bright and blue sky became filled with dark clouds with lightning coursing through from time to time. Looking up, the devouring clown frowned as he looked at the lightning above him. He can feel it, this cloud is specifically gathering above him, seemingly targeting him. At the same time, he can also feel the power of the lightning brewing inside those clouds. Tisk, I didn't expect that a mere tier 1 actually had such great means like this. Glancing at Alex who's just standing there while looking back at him, he felt immense annoyance. Seeing that the clown is looking at him, Alex said, hey, are you planning to just stand there now? Or should I go ahead and beat you up? The clown snappily said, shut your mouth, boy. I will kill when I decide to kill you. So patiently wait for your death. In response, Alex clicked his tongue and said, Tisk, how can that be possible? Then without warning, he charged towards the clown and started going on an offensive. Casting Lightning Judgment takes a whole minute before it can be unleashed. Within that time, Alex plans to beat up the clown as much as possible to avoid his plan getting ruined somehow. Also, Dragon Scale only has 1.5 minutes now before it disappears. Alex doesn't know any martial arts or even basic fighting skills. So, honestly, this whole time, Alex has been only fighting with brute force. Thankfully, the clown also doesn't seem to be familiar with any fighting techniques, probably because it's a monster. Anyway, Alex did his best, he threw both punches and kicks at the devouring clown. At this point, anger also appeared on the clown's face. Arg! You're really hard corruption. The clown once again used the only skill that managed to take effect on Alex. Just like before, the wisp of dark energy entered inside his heart, causing Alex's movements to grow sluggish. Most probably because it's a mental attack, it managed to bypass the dragon scale. After attacking Alex with heart corruption, the clown didn't waste this chance and counterattacked. Skill after skill was casted by the clown and thrown to Alex. Darkness Binding. Shadow Spike. Abyss. Blind. All of the clown's skills took effect on Alex. However, anything that could cause damage to him was nullified. Because of the skills thrown at him by the clown, Alex can't see anything and also can't move because of the binding. After doing all that, the clown paused for a moment and stood right in front of Alex. Then he said, I told you, I will make you regret it. This is what you get for being arrogant and not knowing your place. Saying that, the clown started preparing another skill. But this time, it's a skill that can deal with Alex once and for all. Feeling the killing intent from the clown, Alex didn't panic. Alex waited for a while and soon the effect of blind immediately disappeared. This is thanks to Alex's skill Lord's Sanctuary. Because of it, his recovery speed from control skills such as blind, paralysis, and a few more, is faster than normal. Anyway, after regaining his sight, Alex immediately saw the clown standing right in front of him. A small black sphere is being compressed in front of the clown. The next moment, the clown snapped his eyes open and was about to successfully complete the unknown skill. When suddenly, Alex used seal at the clown. Seal. All of a sudden, the black sphere that actually looks like a black hole vanished just like a bubble. The clown immediately turned his eyes to Alex. You. Gnashing his teeth, the clown was once again about to attack Alex. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough time. That is because, in the sky, the lightning that's been gathering in the clouds has finally reached the breaking point. Meaning, it's time for Alex to unleash the power of lightning judgment. Alex looked at the devouring clown one last time before with a smile, he said, "Bye-bye, stupid clown." Alex didn't dilly-dally and immediately let the lightning judgment attack the clown. The next second, purple lightning that looks like a dragon traveled down from the clouds and successfully landed on the clown. In the face of such a disaster, the clown still tried to do something to save himself. Swallow. Unfortunately, in front of that power, it was all just a futile resistance. Boom. Chapter 99. Meeting the City Protection Squad. A loud explosion accompanied by a blinding purple light appeared in the amusement park. The lightning directly hit the devouring clown and his fate unknown. Because of the bright light from the lightning, Alex involuntarily closed his eyes. Alex felt the hairs on his body rise up because of the lightning just nearby. After a while, the lightning subsided and Alex finally opened his eyes. Then he saw, not far away in front of him, a charred figure was standing there, unmoving. It was the devouring clown that's been hit by lightning judgment. After thinking about it, Alex slowly approached the figure to see its current situation. Once he got near, only then did Alex see just how much damage lightning judgment caused to the devouring clown. Some body parts of the devouring clown have already disappeared while most of the remaining parts have also been burnt black. Looking at it, Alex raised an eyebrow and muttered, "Is it dead now?" As if on cue, a notification suddenly appeared at this time. You killed a 4-star level 203 boss class devouring clown, plus 500 million experience points. And I will show a table to everyone where you can see the experience required for level up and experience acquired from monsters based on levels. Well, some other time. After the kill notification appeared, Alex's experience points rapidly climbed up and soon he leveled up. Congratulations, you leveled up. Congratulations, you leveled up. Congratulations, you leveled up. Congratulations, you leveled up. Congratulations, you. The level up notification didn't end until Alex's level reached 50. And another notification appeared in front of him. Your level has reached your current limit, please head towards the trial tower to advance to tier 2. Your level has reached your current limit, experience points have been temporarily stored into the system. Seeing such notifications, Alex honestly isn't surprised. Right now, he's only at tier 1 while the monster that he killed is at 4-star. That's 3 tiers higher than him, so obviously, he'll get enough points to hit the current level cap. Anyway, seeing that the devouring clown had already died, Alex sighed in relief. Alex sat down on the ground without care about anything and took a rest. Ha, that was the most intense fight I have ever been in since the day I was born. Alex can't help but think back to the fight earlier and certain emotions well up inside him. In the end, Alex sighed and just stopped thinking about anything. At this time, while Alex is resting, Chris comes running towards him. Alex. Alex looked at her and waved his hand with a smile. Hey there, Chris. Chris crouched beside Alex and worriedly said, "Are you all right, Alex? Are you hurt anywhere?" She started looking at Alex's body to see if there's any injury in his body. After not seeing any injuries, Chris sighs in relief. Thankfully, there's no visible wounds on your body. But still, you have to get yourself checked at the hospital later, okay? Alex shrugged and didn't decline. After a while, the CPS, or City Protection Squad, arrived under the leadership of Chris' uncle, Glenn. When Chris saw them, she called out while waving her hand, "Uncle." Glenn and the squad paused and turned their eyes to Chris' direction after hearing her voice. When he saw Chris, Glenn hurried over and immediately asked, "Chris, where is the monster now?" While asking, he glanced at Alex sitting on the ground and the two of them nodded to each other. It's over there. Chris pointed at where the devouring clown's corpse is laying. Glenn and the whole CPS followed her fingers and saw the charred body on the ground. Immediately, the group felt speechless. Glenn's lips twitched and he slowly turned his eyes back to Chris and said, "Are you sure that's the monster that invaded this time? Based on the power detector, the invader was at least a 4-star, right? So, how the hell did a 4-star monster turn into that?" Chris shrugged and pointed at Alex and said, "I don't know as well, it was Alex who fought with it. But, the last thing I saw was a powerful lightning that suddenly hit that clown. That's why it got burned like that." Glenn and his squad turned their eyes at Alex with disbelief. Glenn approached him, looked straight into his eyes and said, "Boy, tell me the truth. Did you really kill that monster?" Glenn's eyes were full of seriousness as he stared at Alex. Alex was unfazed, he looked back at him and casually answered, "Yeah, I did that. It was quite a hard battle but in the end, I managed to come out on top. As for the lightning, well, it was one of my skills." Even though Alex answered truthfully, Glenn still has some doubts. But then, someone from his squad stepped forward and said, "Sir, he's not lying." Glenn turned around and looked at the speaker. "Oh, Antonio, so it was the truth, hey?" When he saw that it was the squad's marksman, Antonio, the doubt in Glenn's eyes immediately disappeared. This is because Antonio has a rare skill. Lie detector. A skill that enables its user to see whether someone is lying true to their mana fluctuation. This is a very good skill for those people who want to become an investigator or interrogator. Of course, there are also a few shortcomings in this skill, but anyway, it is very helpful. Like now, just because of Antonio's words, Glenn's doubts on Alex disappeared immediately. Now that he confirmed that Alex indeed killed the 4-star devouring clown, Glenn could only sigh and looked at Alex with strange eyes. Then he said, "Alex, you know, you're really a monster." After one last sigh, Glenn stopped thinking about it. In the alter dimension, there are also some people who are able to kill monsters that are on a higher level than them. Because of that, even though he was surprised that Alex did it, Glenn still believed it. Especially since Antonio already stepped forward to prove that it's true. Chapter 100. What's gonna happen now? Because of that, I decided to do a mass release next week on May 14th. Anyway, you can wait for it. I'm also planning to get our characters drawn, so let's see how it'll go when I get enough budget for it. Anyway, enjoy reading. After Antonio spoke up, Glenn no longer doubted that Alex killed the devouring clown. But still, he can't help but be surprised at Alex's strength. Just a week ago, he clearly remembered that Alex said that it's only been weeks since he started going to alter dimension. And now, from a beginner, to someone who can solo kill a 4-star monster, he really is monstrous. Then Glenn remembered something and turned his eyes back to Alex and said, "Alex, last time you said that you were going to the trial tower, right? Did you successfully break through to Tier 1? Just after that question came out of his mouth, Glenn immediately felt that it was redundant. After all, Alex has already killed a 4-star monster today. Compared to that, those monsters in the tower are just basically like babies. Anyway, since Glenn asked, Alex still honestly replied, "Yes, I have successfully cleared the 10th floor of the trial tower." When Glenn and his squad heard that, they paused and looked at Alex with disbelief. The only girl within the CPS suddenly spoke at this time and said, "10th floor? Are you sure you're not making that up?" This girl's name is Ashley, a mage-type player. Within the CPS, Ashley has great popularity. Because of her beauty and strong magic, she managed to capture the hearts of everyone. Within the squad, she's also one of the greatest firepower. Alex turned his eyes at the girl who's questioning him and was about to say something. But Antonio spoke ahead of him and refuted Ashley's words. He is telling the truth. I sensed no lies from his words. Since it's Antonio who said it, no one else can say anything. Even if she's someone who possesses great power, she still has to respect her fellow squad member and an important lie detector in the group. Anyway, after Antonio's guarantee, no one questioned Alex anymore. Seeing that no one doubts him anymore, Alex shrugged and just remained silent. Next, they turned their eyes at the corpse not far away. Antonio looked at Glenn and said, "Sir, what are we going to do now?" Glenn did not answer immediately. He turned his attention back to Alex and said, "Alex, can I borrow the corpse of that monster for a while?" I just have to take it back to our headquarters and get it inspected. As soon as we finish the inspection, we will bring it back to you immediately as soon as you tell us. To his request, Alex didn't hesitate and immediately agreed. Sure, please take it if you need it. Seeing Alex's generosity, Glenn smiled, good, I thank you for that. After saying that, Glenn started ordering his people to retrieve the burnt corpse of the devouring clown. While his men are completing his order, Glenn said to Alex, by the way, since you killed an invader from Alter Dimension, you will be rewarded for your hard work. I will talk about it with Dad and the officials of Pearl City to see what we can do to reward you. Don't worry, I'll try to make sure that you can get a reward that's worthy of your effort. Hearing that he will be rewarded, Alex can't help but smile. Rewards are something that Alex won't decline. And with Glenn's assurance, Alex can't help but start having expectations for this reward. So he smiled back at Glenn and sincerely said, then I'll thank you in advance, Mr. Glenn. Don't sweat it. Glenn said. Then he added, also, don't call me Mr., just call me Uncle like how you call my brother. Then, don't mind if I do, Uncle Glenn. Alex obediently complied. Good, good. Glenn nodded with satisfaction as he looked at Alex. At this time, the Glenn's people have finished retrieving the corpse and reported. Sir, the monster's corpse has been placed in the truck. Hearing that, Glenn nodded, all right, then let's head back. He turned his gaze to Alex and said, Alex, we will be going now. When you're free, you should visit our house again and we can continue discussing our previous topics. Anyway, for now we will be heading back first. Before leaving, Glenn looked at Chris who's been sitting beside Alex this whole time with meaningful eyes. This girl, was she on a date with Alex? Hehe, it seems like I have some good news to tell father again this time. With that thought in his head, Glenn left in a happy mood along with his whole group. When Chris saw that, she was speechless. She wants to explain but she knows that Glenn will probably not believe it. So, in the end, Chris can only sigh and stay silent. Alex also saw that look that Glenn gave Chris and can't help but get curious. Hey, your uncle was looking at you weirdly before he left, why is that? Chris was startled with Alex's sudden inquiry and didn't know how to reply. That. He's just meaning to say that you did a good job. At the last minute, Chris managed to think of something and immediately told Alex before letting out a weird laugh. Alex looked at her with strange eyes, oh, okay. He's not an idiot so Alex can think of a few things based on Chris' behavior. But since it seems like Chris doesn't want to tell it, Alex won't pursue his curiosity. Alex turned his attention to the amusement park that's been wrecked all over by that devouring clown earlier and said. Well, what's gonna happen now? A lot of people died because a monster suddenly appeared in the middle of such a crowded place like this. What will people think about the appearance of a monster that was usually only seen in movies and novels suddenly appearing here, in the real world? Since there's a lot of things he doesn't know, Alex can only ask Chris questions to find some answer.